Hello, everybody, and welcome to the afternoon tune. I'm your host, Josh, and with me on my two co-hosts today, I got Nick. Nick,
Hello.
good old co.
Hello.
And I also have Chris from the Black Stuffs podcast. You all know Chris. Chris has been here many times doing reviews, helping me out here, and he's helping me out again. We're doing some reviews here. How's it going there, Chris?
Hello, Josh. Hello, Nick. Thanks again for having me. I love the
Hello.
show.
Chris was just on. He helped us do a season 1 review there, Star Wars Acolyte. We reviewed half the episodes. Now we're going to review all the rest of them. Now that season 1 is all done and over with. Also, Chris is also coming to helping us with the boys season 4. That is over with and done. So yeah, a lot of people maybe it's kind of divisive. Well, people kind of split on it, not as positive on it as other boys seasons, but we'll let you know all about that. And then me and Nick are going to be doing a review for Cobra Kai season 6, part 1, A1. One of one.
Part one of like 3 that they're splitting the season into.
Yeah, I didn't know that
because if Netflix knows how to do anything, they know how to milk something for all it's worth.
Yeah. I didn't know that Cobra Kai was that big for him. I didn't know that it was that big enough for them to split it into 3 parts like that. I didn't know that it was kind of something like Stranger Things for him. I didn't know that, but I guess
well, it was big enough to get shouted out by Andrew Garfield on the Spider-Man press tour, and big enough to revitalize a new Karate Kid movie with Machio and Jackie Chan.
Yeah, sequel is coming from the Karate Kid remake, which is in its own. That's the reboot remake universe. So now Karate Kid has multiple universes now.
The multiverse, but this is actually like canon to the original Karate Kids.
Okay, so it's canon to the. How would it be canon to the if he would still be alive?
Yeah, because it's Ralph Macchio. It's not canon. It's Jackie Chan, who's not Mr. Miyagi. He's like a different version of that character.
Okay, was he Mr. Miyagi in the reboot or no? It was Jaden Smith or no?
He was the Mr. Miyagi character.
Mr. Han.
Oh, Mr. Han. Okay, so he wasn't.
Han.
Yeah, because that one was in China when they were teaching kung fu. They just called it the Karate Kid because name recognition.
Oh, okay. I forgot a lot about
Kung Fu Kid. Kung Fu Kid doesn't have the same branding.
Well, they did. Well, that song Kung Fu Fighting. Everybody was Kung Fu Fighting. That was big. They could have done that.
They didn't even have that in the movie. They had Justin Bieber.
Oh well, missed opportunity. So yeah,
never say never.
So yeah, I mean, so that's when Jaden Smith, back a little boy, trying to be a star like his daddy, didn't work out too well. But,
whether or not he wanted to or not.
Yeah, putting him in stuff. So yeah, sequel is coming there for that movie, but we got that review coming up here of Cobra Kai, which is out right now. And we're going to be doing spoiler talks for all of these things, for the boys, for Star Wars Acolyte, for Cobra Kai, because they already been out. They've been out for a minute now. They've over. So if you haven't seen it yet, well, I don't know. Tune off and come back in when you have finished it. But yeah,
just keep us playing in the black. Just mute us. Keep us playing in the background.
You almost had it right. Black round, put us in the black round there. Do that there. Black noise you got kind of going on there. Speaking of black noise, Chris, have you seen Divorce in the Black?
2 or 3.
No, I'm not. What is that?
That's the newest Tyler Perry foolishness.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's the newest Tyler Perry joint. Yeah, because apparently if you're a black male and you don't like his movies, you're just uppity in his eyes. Because why have standards?
Why have standards? Yeah, as a kid, my mom thought Medea was very funny. So, and as a kid, I thought Medea was funny. So I did see, Dive Mad Black Women and some of the other ones. But as in my adult years, I haven't seen like the Janet Jackson.
Why Did I Get Married?
I haven't seen any of those. I in my adult years, I actively avoid Tyler Perry's black perspective. It's setting us back, seriously.
Well, this is out right now. It's on Amazon Prime. It's Megan Good is in this. Yeah, it's. I mean, hey, if you want a good laugh, I recommend checking it
You want a good laugh?
You
out.
want a good laugh? That's a ringing endorsement.
But yeah, that's out there right now. But Chris, let people know where they can find you, man. What you got going on, your links, all that good stuff, man.
Yes. So I just watched Deadpool and Wolverine. I posted a little reaction to that on Twitter. The entire thing is on TikTok, and then you can also find a little bit of it on Instagram. All of it is at the Black Stubs. I've been watching a lot of television, popular television, and maybe some more niche television. I reviewed season 3 of The Bear. I talked about season 4 of The Boys. I'm currently watching
This
House of the
week?
Dragon. I don't know if anyone else is watching HBO Max's My Adventure with Superman from the South Korean studio Mir.
Oh,
We did the
love
first
that
season.
I just finished it.
Not
I just finished it the other day, and I loved that show so much.
Thank
so
you,
good.
Nick. Yes, yeah. I adore that show. The animation style, the story they're telling, the fact that these characters are so young, the fact that Lois Lane is Asian, Jimmy Olsen is black.
And they don't just use it, and they don't just use that casting for, hey, look at how diverse we are. They actually use that to play into the characters.
Absolutely.
Like something that really stood out is like, I think in one episode, Jimmy Olsen's like speaking at a tech conference, and he's buttoned up, he's dressed to the nines. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor is gate crashing the thing just in like jeans and a sneakers.
Exactly.
It's like the little bit of like how you present yourself and the standard that you are judged and in public perception. And I loved how they included Supergirl in this newest season.
Yeah. Making her like a pawn of Brainiac instead of the cousin who was like lost in time when she was launched. It's different, and it adds layers to the character of Superman, because now he has to teach his cousin how to be a human the way he learned how to be human from the Kents and the people in his life who he loves. So yeah, there's a lot to love about that show. And if you like DC,
the voice cast, it's amazing. Jack Quaid, he is kind of up there with my favorite animated Superman. I mean, nobody's touching who did it in the George Newbern. Nobody's touching him, but Jack Quaid is perfect as the character. And I loved Kiana Madeira, who for all of you watched Fear Street a couple years ago. She was the lead in those movies, and she gives a fantastic voice performance to Kara in My Adventures with Superman.
Yeah, it was really, really great. But yeah, that's it's anime-esque, but because it's not from Japan, it's not anime technically, but it's very anime-esque, especially with Superman's suit, how it like materializes. It's really cool. Not everyone likes that style or that medium, but it works for me because I grew up with it. So yeah. And also I am currently starting Suicide Squad Isekai on HBO Max. That is an anime. It's fully Japanese, and it's really cool. So when I'm finished with that, with the first season, I'll do a reaction on TikTok, and I'll throw it everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, at the Black Stubs.
Yeah, this is your Instagram. This is your Twitter right here. People can follow you at the Black Stubs. This is your TikTok right here. We have tons of content up there. For as amount of content you should be putting out, I think you should have more followers. Follow this guy, get him to over 1,000 there. I think you should have way more followers here.
Yeah,
the amount of content you put out, very, very nice. Yeah, love Chris from the Black Stubs podcast. Great content creator, doing a lot of great stuff out there. Doing a lot of good stuff. So awesome.
Any tips on how to build a following? Let me know. I'm an amateur.
I can add you to this Discord. I got a Discord. You on Discord?
I'm on Discord.
Okay. Send me your Discord, and I'll add you to a group here. That's really good. A lot of good content creators helping build each other up there. Nice. So I'll do that there. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, Chris from Black Stuff. I saw here on your Twitter, so you had your letterbox review of Deadpool and Wolverine. You gave it 4 stars. There. What's some thoughts about Deadpool and Wolverine? Non-spoiler, of course.
So, 4 stars for me is just like it's a solid movie that I really enjoyed. If there's any gripes I can't overlook, I'll probably bump it down to a 3.5. But um, overall, I really enjoyed it. I feel like this movie really was geared towards millennials from the cameos and the music. I love that some of these cameos weren't gratuitous. Some of these cameos were supporting roles, and there was one cameo in particular that did make me like I did share in my seat. I have to admit. But yeah, this was very funny. Um, it did have a balance, which I think it really needed because I love the first Deadpool. Deadpool 2, I liked it, but by that time I was kind of getting Ryan Reynolds fatigue because he's been in the past few years he's been bringing the same thing to every movie he does. Even the Adam Project where he's playing like the straight man, they put all the Ryan Reynolds isms on the kid, and I'm like they still find a way to make this a very Ryan Reynolds quippy, witty, fast, foul mouthed kind of thing. But there's heart with Wolverine and Hugh Jackman. There's heart even with Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool. For me, there was a lot of talk of redemption and legacy, and wanting to matter, which is very heartfelt and very very relatable. Who doesn't want to matter? Who doesn't want to feel important? And for a very long time, I guess this Deadpool by Ryan Reynolds has felt that way. And I do love the way they play and laugh at Disney, at DC, at Warner Brothers, like kind of similar to how like in The Boys, like, oh, the A-Train movies is complete, but we're gonna scrap it. Like we can't show it. Like, am I allowed to talk spoilers?
No, we're doing spoilers tomorrow. Yeah.
Spoilers, okay.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. But yeah. Well, then with that said, I personally really enjoyed it. I understand if people didn't enjoy it. It is a lot. And there are film critics whose opinions I really admire and respect, but they hated it. It was a capitalist cash grab. It's soulless. It was just an excuse to I'm like, okay, all right, well, I personally enjoyed it. It did feel like a love letter to
there's a lot of reviews that I'm seeing that feel very much just like cut and paste reviews of The Flash that came out last year.
Right there, Josh.
The difference between that and here.
Yeah.
No, it'll make tons of money. It's not.
This is William Bibiani. He says, I know it'll make tons of money, and I'm sure many will disagree, but I feel it's not that it's the worst Marvel movie. It's that the film itself admits that it's pandering corporate calculation, not a subversive commentary, but a self-congratulatory selling point.
That's the character.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the character of Deadpool. He works as kind of that self-congratulatory, like fourth wall breaking nut job. But here it injects so much more sincerity, especially with Hugh Jackman playing the straight man in the movie.
Yeah, this is Guy Lodge. I don't know if you know this critic, but he says, I've sat through a lot of dreary superhero films, but Deadpool and Wolverine was the first to actually make me think mainstream cinema might not be salvageable. Jesus. Wow. Yeah.
Come on.
Glenn Powell's got his work cut out for him.
Jeff Zhang, he said Deadpool and Wolverine or fuck ass fan fiction the movie, aborted project, Reddit posts, and the most annoying fan wish list tweets you could imagine, all rolled in the glorified clip show slop. One of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen. No one deserves this. Jesus.
Slop.
Oh damn.
Slop. Clip show slop.
Did Ryan Reynolds fuck your girlfriend? Jesus.
Wow. And then this person says, I don't know how to put this any less paradoxically, but my feeling is Deadpool and Wolverine is somehow worse than worse films such as The Marvel or Madam Web.
Oh, bullshit.
Okay,
half of that is bullshit.
They've made what they wanted to make. It is, however, a more soul-destroying thing.
Okay, I'll give him Madam Web, but come on, The Marvels, really?
The Marvels was not bad. It was not bad.
That movie is kind of. I like that movie a lot.
It's cohesive. It makes sense. It's not. it's not a mess the way people said it was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
So
Madam
yeah,
Web sucks. Madam Web sucks.
Ma-
That movie.
Yeah,
They weren't even trying. They weren't even
I want to
trying.
be nice, but goddamn.
man. So yeah, I mean, I know you said here in your kind of tweet, you said you kind of understand why some people might not like Deadpool and Wolverine. You said that in one of your tweets here about the movie. Have you seen kind of any good faith criticism you like of the movie that you can understand?
Yeah, I think we all know Coy Jandreau. He's a big comic guy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Uh,
white
yeah,
guy, right?
yeah, white guy, redhead. Um, he had a lot of positive stuff to say about it, and no one in particular, but tweets. I've seen a lot of positive. Like this is awesome. This is everything we wanted.
Mhm.
It's so funny. You got to go see it. I'm like, yeah, like it's fun. Have fun. It's a movie that was made for the fans, for the audience, and
Mhm. Yeah,
again,
and
it's one of those movies that made a lot of dreams come true. That's all I'll say without any spoilers.
Mm,
yeah, it's a movie that is, designed to be fun and be entertaining, and also, kind of pay loving tribute to this bygone era of Hollywood and superhero movies that if it weren't for 20th Century Fox, we wouldn't have the MCU that we have it today. Because Kevin Feige, he was a producer on the first X-Men, and that kind of comes full circle. And even for as many misses as the Fox era of the Marvel movies had, the people behind them, they still felt passion about those projects they worked on.
yeah. And this is the guy right here, right? Is who you talking
Yeah,
about? Corey, yeah.
yeah.
Good content creator. I like him. Yeah, go check him out there.
He's very insightful when it comes to comic book lore and knowledge. He's like an actual expert. If I need to know anything about
Mm.
a character going into a movie, I just search up. What does Coy have to say about the Punisher, Venom? He's a big Marvel guy, so
Hmm. Yeah, doesn't he do a lot of collabs with like the Real Rejects and
Real Rejects, Christian Harloff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, so he pops up on there. Yeah,
Yeah.
so oh, awesome. Yeah, very nice there. But be doing a spoiler review there tomorrow, Sunday. Maybe Nick can join me
Mm.
there. Hunter
Yep.
cannot.
Knock on wood.
Hunter cannot. He's not feeling too well there.
Mm.
But yeah, hopefully we can do a spoiler review tomorrow. On Monday, I'm gonna also be doing a stream with Sage from Radiant Maturity. He's gonna be doing a retro review for Deadpool the video game. He's also gonna be doing a review for Lifeless Moon. Also gonna be doing a review for Shogun, which Shogun has the most most Emmy nominations coming into this. Are you gonna watch the Emmys at all there, Chris? Are you gonna like cover that or?
wait, real quick. I know Shogun has a lot, but they have the most. I thought the Bear had the most.
I think they said Shogun had 20. I thought 25 was the most. I thought.
I thought the Bear had like 25 or like 23, 25.
Oh, maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know. I mean,
Either way, the both shows are
yeah,
incredible and warrant that amount because they're just both great shows. But yeah,
yeah, yeah. So, are you gonna cover that at all?
the Emmys, yeah. I usually cover like the winners of the categories I care about. I'm not gonna. I don't the Black Subs. I don't want to go out of my way to do something that I'm not passionate about. I want to talk about the actors, the actresses, the directors, the writers. Like there's so many categories I'm really invested in. So I'll cover that.
Okay. All right. Do you feel like you've seen a lot of the shows that have been nominated this year?
Um, if not most of them, I've seen like a nice handful of them. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad Reservation Dogs finally got some love. Even if it's just 2 Emmys, two nominations, it's something because that showed it's groundbreaking in its storytelling, representation, so it deserves it.
Okay. So Shogun has 25. The Bear has 23.
Oh wow, okay, so Shogun did beat it.
Oh
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
that's
Um.
crazy,
Yeah. So I did have.
amazing.
So I did have that there. So I know some people seem like they turning on the Bear. A lot of people are like, well, the Bear really isn't that good. It's finally did the
Season
people.
3, yeah, let some people down. I personally love season 3, but some people, season 2 was so great that they wanted, I guess, that more of that greatness. And I can admit, season 3 didn't hit as hard as some of those episodes in season 2. But overall, for me, at least season 3 was like why we did the show. Like we made it. We opened the restaurant. We are operational now. Can we Can we sustain it? For me, that's what season 3 was. Like we made it here. Can we maintain it? Can we be consistent? And that was a test for the characters. So I love season 3.
Okay. So, you think people are mad because they're just not seeing this in season 3 at all? They're just like this?
Talking to Marcus, and I'm going to talk to Marcus.
Fuck off my Xbox shit now!
Yeah, people really gravitate towards the angry chef in the chaotic kitchen. Like that was a big pull for season 1 and even season 2 when they're trying to build the damn thing from scratch, like taking down drywall, having trouble with mold, the gas line isn't working. If it pops, we can't open. Like, I guess season 3, I guess was maybe too cushy because we made it to the bougie, pristine, clean, beautiful restaurant. It's no longer dirty or grimy the way season 1 and 2 were, and I understand that's part of the appeal. But I just love the progression of like we went from the sandwich shop, the beef in season 1 to now this elegant, high end, working for a Michelin star restaurant called the Bear, and the plating is like it's a restaurant. It's no longer a sandwich shop. So I think there is some parts of it that people really loved that's no longer there, and I get that.
Gee, I think somebody getting murdered.
My girlfriend, she plays League of Legends. She has her set up downstairs in my house. But yeah, she gets excited.
Yeah, she ever thought about working in the kitchen? Being a chef?
She kind of does most of the cooking at home now, so she might fit in actually.
Yeah. She might, talk to the pastry chef like that.
Just I try to help her. She just starts doing this.
Why are you fucking with me? Huh?
Oh
man. So this is not so much of that chaotic element in season 3 like how it is in season 1 and season 2. Like it's more kind of chilled out a little bit. Is that what you're saying?
In season 3, Carmi is he's still dialed up, but he's now that they're here, he's trying to be perfect. So all of his outbursts are like, like hands, fucking hands, god damn it, hands, like, and then Sydney has to calm him down. But yeah, all of his outbursts like that are towards Richie, like fuck you cousin, no, like go fuck yourself, no, you get fucked, no, you get fucked, like that, it's still there, but now you can tell by looking at it, it's no longer happening in a very dirty, gross kitchen. The kitchen's clean and beautiful, but it's still chaotic. There's still drama. But yeah, if you watch season 3, Carmi is still he's still on one.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. I don't know why they dropped it all at once. It seems very odd for a show that.
Why did they do that? It should have remained in the conversation all summer, like these other shows. But why?
Very strange.
This deserves that. This show it's so good. It deserves that same cultural conversation that we're getting with shows like The Bear, like with House of the Dragon, like with The Boys, House of the Dragon, even The Acolyte this year. It deserved all of that conversation. They did the same thing last year with season 2 when they dropped it all at once, when Succession was airing, when The Last of Us was airing. This needed that push to it.
Yeah,
I agree completely. Yes.
Keeps it in the conversation. Water cooler, like House of the Dragon, keeps it in the
yes.
Water cooler conversations there. Do you guys ever eat at like restaurants like this, like very fancy type restaurants? With a little bit of food and it looks like a Picasso painting? Is there anything like that?
I haven't eaten at like one of those places, but I've taken my girlfriend to like this steakhouse in Tampa where it's expensive, but the food was amazing.
So
but it's not like this Michelin style plating.
The closest I've been, there was one restaurant in New Orleans that was very high end. Like if you got the gumbo or jambalaya, it was like a really big white plate and it was like very small in the middle. I live in Maryland, so Washington D.C. is just like a hop and a skip away. So there's a place called Georgia Brown's. It's like high end Cajun food. So again, if you order a jambalaya or a gumbo, it's like this deconstructed looking thing. Like like the meat is over here, the rice is over here. I'm like, usually it's like one big pot kind of dish, but they make it all fancy and so like that's my experience with like the bougie, like small plate, expensive food kind of kind of restaurant.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's really worth it to do it. I mean, sometimes
It's
done.
It's just for the experience.
Yeah, but just I've been there.
Yeah, it's more for the experience and to say you've been there, to witness food more, less as sustenance, more as art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we got that. Well, yeah.
And I can, me personally, I can understand the appeal of that. But the most relatable scene of the menu is when Anya Taylor-Joy asked for that cheeseburger.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm still hungry.
I would murder that thing more than anything else you've shown me in this movie so far.
Yeah.
So is this it? Is this the place?
Georgia Brown's? Yeah. Yep, that's it. Washington, D.C. Yeah. It's beautiful. Yeah.
This looks pretty good. Okay, that looks pretty appetizing.
Yeah, that's an appetizer. It's like dates with gorgonzola cheese wrapped in bacon. It's very, very rich. It's very, very bold flavors.
Yeah. Okay.
I like to eat, in case that wasn't clear.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be getting into these reviews. Let me pull my notes from. Go get started here. Let's get into this. Let me just. All right. Thanks for joining me again here, Chris. Make a time out of your Saturday day.
Love being here.
All right. So our first review of the day is going to be for the Disney Plus Star Wars series, The Acolyte. The Acolyte, we reviewed half of the series here. It's up on YouTube right now if you want to check it out, youtube.com, The Afternoon Tomb. We'll review the first 4 episodes of it. Now that the season is all over and done with, we're going to be reviewing all of the season. We're going to do a spoiler talk for it since it's already been out. It's been out for about a week or so now, the first season of it. So we're just going to fully get into spoilers in case that you didn't see our first review of the first 4 episodes and you just haven't seen this show in general. What is this show about? Well, it's about the Acolyte here, which is it's set very, very hundreds of years before episode 1 of Star Wars. And you do have a character played by Amandla Steinberg, who plays Osha and May. She plays twins. Both are force sensitive, or what we think are twins. Both are force sensitive here. And there was a tragic incident that happened in her childhood that's coming back into play now. You have it where Osha is going around hunting the Jedis that were involved in her past that caused the destruction of her home. One of them being an actor by the name of Lee Jung Jae, who plays the soul. One of them also being Carrie-Anne Moss in this, who plays one of the Jedi. So you have, I think it was, 4 or 5 Jedis that were there? Or was it? 5 Jedis, right? That she hunts down that were related to her past. And then the person that's training her, there you also see a very hot Sith, steamy Sith.
Dude, we are firmly in hot boy summer between Glenn Powell and Manny Jacinto. Because,
Manny Jacinto,
goddamn.
Who plays Quamir, is how you say his name? Chimera there, who's the one that's her master training her to hunt down a lot of these Jedis there. So I'm gonna pass around, get you guys' thoughts on it. Nick, what are your thoughts on Star Wars Acolyte now it's over and done with?
All right. When we talked about the first 5 episodes, I kind of had this feeling that, yes, I liked what I saw in the premiere. I like that we're, delving into the, shades of gray and the flaws of the Jedi Order. But I was a little perturbed that not much was happening in those first couple episodes until you get to episode 5, which is awesome. And I kind of feel that same way about the last 3, especially with the episodes 6, 7, and 8, which 7 is a flashback episode of what actually happened in May and Osha's past. But I'm kind of shocked about how little story progression happened in those last 3 episodes, especially when you were teed up so well by episode 5. But if I had to give an overall review of it, I liked the performances by the actors. I think Manny Jacinto, he is awesome as a Chimera in this role. He introduced so much layers to the Jedi and the Sith. He has this just magnetic presence every time he's on screen and when he's interacting with Amandla Stenberg, especially once the other shoe drops that he is the Sith master. And he really emphasizes that kind of seductive nature of the dark side. And of course, you also have phenomenal performances by Lee Jung Jae, who is that guy who wants to be that, that paragon for good that the Jedi are supposed to represent. But he's a character that has made mistakes in his past and is haunted by them and is trying to do what he thinks is the right thing. And then you have the dual performance from Amandla Stenberg, which I think is really interesting, especially the turns that Osha as a character takes in the last half of the season. I thought all of that was really good. I think the pacing of the show is like a little off. I feel like this could have done with either like more episodes or just longer, because why are we getting these shows where they're only like 30-minute episodes? I feel like this would have benefited from being like an hour-long serialized drama, getting to spend more time with the characters, or at least like flesh some of them out. The lore that's explored in the show with Star Wars, I thought that was super cool to see, especially seeing a kyber crystal actually bleed, which is something that's happened in canon, and I think we only saw it in the Fallen Order video game. No, not Fallen Order. It was a Jedi Survivor, and seeing a character turn to the dark side in, that was cool. But as far as like overall thoughts on the show, it was all right.
Okay. What about for you, Chris? Well, I think Chris is.
So, the first time, real quick, the first time I thought I found out about in canon making crystals bleed was the Ahsoka novel. This book explains how she gets the lightsabers. Okay. An Inquisitor was hunting her down, and without any sabers, she was able to get the best of the Inquisitor, defeated him, and then flooded the crystals with like positive Force energy, and she like uncorrupted the kyber crystals. So it was kind of like the opposite effect. But when that happened, they explained how the lightsaber in the first place became crimson, because in the new canon, lightsabers no longer come naturally in that color. Before Disney, all red kyber crystals were synthetic. But in the new canon, it explains how that happened. But for the Acolyte, now that's all said and done, I agree with a lot. Oh no, voice is gone. I agree with a lot of what Nick said. Now that it's all said and done, I can confidently say, out of the 8 episodes we got, I really enjoyed half of the show. I thought episodes 1 and 2 did a great job of building this mystery, this murder mystery. Why does this rogue dark force user, why is she on the hunt for this Jedi, like Kill Bill style? Like it's almost as if you could imagine she has a list of names of people she's hunting down. And episodes 1 and 2, she like crosses 2 names off the list, and then we find out we introduce another character who looks like her. Find out they're twins. I'm like, okay, so that's interesting. But now she's getting framed for something she didn't do. I like that. And then we get to episode 2, and Jedi Master Torben with his receding hairline, blind in one eye, floating, really cool. She takes out Trinity, and she finds this guy, and he takes the poison. I'm so sorry. We thought we were doing the right thing. I'm thinking, wow, what did this guy do to make him take poison 20 years later? After it's like I gotta find out what he did, and then we do find out in episodes.
When the reveal happens, it's like, that was it.
That's kind of where my issues come from. Episodes 3 and 7 complete the flashback, which that should have been one episode. Just showing different perspectives. I think it was a mistake to go back to that same night twice and for me, 3 and 7 are the worst episodes in this season because
going back to that same night, especially with how much is teed up in the previous episodes before that and after, because 7 follows episode 6, which is we're seeing Chimera with Osha. We're seeing Soul realize that May is on the ship with him, and it's set up as like he's telling her the truth about Brendock, when you could have had 3 and 7 follow each other back to back. And I feel like the show would have been a little bit stronger for that, because we know the pieces that are at play. We know the real mystery, when in reality, what Soul did, really? That was it? That like set off this whole murder spree?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Torben. Like, you didn't do anything wrong. Soul made those choices that night. You were this whiny, wimpy Padawan who wanted to go home. But I'm sorry. If we've seen Star Wars, when the Jedi come for you to recruit you, you have a choice. They don't make you go. You can say, "Do you want to be a Jedi?" Like, you have these skills, just like you can say no, and they leave. But this kid said yes, and now he's complaining, like whining. I want to go home. I have to Coruscant. To do what? To chill at the Jedi Temple? You're a Jedi. You don't want to go out into the galaxy and be a guardian of peace and justice. Like that was like the writing issues I have. Like, they made him complain and whiny just for him to be like, oh, the convergence is them. So if we find them, we can go, right? Let's go. Like, no. Like, that's not how it works. So yeah, I loved episode 6 where Chimera is doing what the whole show was pitched as, the Sith philosophy, the dark tone. When Leslie Helen was talking about this show,
actually exploring it in contrast to the kind of very, dogmatic, repressive views of the Jedi. It was like, I know that, Star Wars doesn't fuck, but that was hot when he was like talking to Osha. It was like, how can you love somebody who can only go so far? It was like, damn, boy.
Yeah, and like he was like really interface talking about how there's weapons and tools deep within your subconscious. He's talking about hate, anger, fear, like those tools of the dark side that do give you strength, even if it's not like healthy strength. It does give you power, and he was passing that stuff along to Osha, and that seduction was working, as we see. It worked, and that's episode 6 really embodied what I thought the entire show was going to be, and the entire show wasn't that, unfortunately. I have nothing against the Witch Coven. I love that they call the Force the thread. It reminded me of Star Wars Rebels, the Lasat. They have the Force too, but they call it something else. The Force exists for everyone, but it means something. It's interpreted.
Even the Night Sisters, they call the Force something else.
They
have
something
another
else.
name.
And that's led by Jodie Turner Smith, who leads the Force Coven here of witches that you have here. This is Jodie Turner Smith right here.
And that's a highlight of the show, something I will praise and love it for. This is a mainstream Star Wars story with Black women and Asian men at the helm. There's no like white men. There's no straight cis white men. There's no straight white woman who are the leads here. This is a Star Wars story, 8 episodes long.
Wait. No white men at the lead?
Who?
Wait, no white men at the lead? Skip it. Waste of film. No whites. No whites. No whites.
No.
Skip
what?
it.
I'm out of here.
Burn it down.
Yeah. That's something I love about this show. Yeah, but it's Jodie Turner Smith. The other mother, the Zarbrick woman, she kind of overcooked the performance a little bit. I don't know why.
The one with
she was a little bit over the top.
Horns.
Okay.
It reminded me of the actress who plays
Abigail Thorne.
Is it? Yeah.
She plays Eurus, who's canonically their mother.
Yeah. It just reminded me of the Mandalorian season 1. We get that one Twi'lek woman. And she's like hissing and like growling. I'm like, they don't really do that. This is an actor's choice, like wearing the makeup.
And
but
this is
like
the woman to the right here.
yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
lot of growling and just like fight man and like run. Like I was like, okay, this is a little silly. But yeah, for me, the Witch Coven, as much as I love the diversity and their culture, their placement in the story itself didn't carry much weight. Like we kept going back to this flashback, but it still never made full sense. It still didn't help support the motivations. I mean, it did, but like it wasn't enough by the time we got there, you know? Like the journey was rough. I love the destination. The finale, episode 8, was incredible. You know, you have a South Korean Jedi Master, a Filipino Sith, and they're going at it, and it's one of the best Star Wars action we've ever gotten ever.
And
like, it's so good.
yeah, and that's something that I also gotta like say to the positives, because the action set pieces, the lightsaber fights, it's some of the best we've gotten since the Star Wars prequels. Because every single one, it feels like there's weight to it. You get the geography, which you have Chase Cameron Cohen, who was a stunt coordinator and the second unit director on films like The Kingsman, like Shang-Chi, and all of that translates here really well.
So with this Disney Plus show, like they're still gonna be doing Star Wars stuff. People say Star Wars is dead. They're still gonna be making Star Wars stuff, whether you like it or not. TV shows, movies. We got a couple movies coming out. I think next year, the Rey movie's coming out, and then the Mandalorian movie's coming out next year, and the Rey movie's coming out the year after that, right?
I think you flip it. I think
If that's happening,
think Mandalorian is 20.
Yeah.
20. You might be right. I'm
Okay.
not,
Yeah,
but it's
movies are
definitely-
coming out.
yeah, you might. Yeah, you sound right. Star Wars movies are still coming out. Because everybody around the world knows Star Wars.
Yeah.
I went to freaking Galaxy's Edge at Disney World a couple weeks ago with my girlfriend, and that motherfucker was packed.
Yeah. So still, I mean, so they're gonna still continue to do Star Wars stuff, whether people like it or not, and content.
Whether you like it or not.
And this show for me, I think overall, it's just mediocre. I don't think I have any real strong emotion towards it one way or the other. I don't love it. I don't think I really fairly like it all that much. There's some decent stuff about it. I don't think I hate it as much as or dislike it as much as Boba Fett. Boba Fett to me is still the worst out of all these Star Wars shows that they've done. As far as I mean, it's kind of like I guess comparable to like Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was also kind of mid and mediocre with that. The mystery, the setup of it, as Chris mentioned, the whole kind of like Kill Bill style, she's going after these Jedi is impressive. Like the setting up this mystery about who's committing these murders, their history. The fact that she's able to kill these Jedi is a little not believable, given how much experience these Jedi have compared to her. And then, like I said, and even in the review prior, when we reviewed half of it, it's like, well, these Jedi could really be taking her down. It seems like in a couple of moves, but they're playing around with her, and that's how she's really doing it. And it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. When the mystery actually gets revealed about what actually happened, there's still some stuff I just go like, I don't think. I mean, I said why you would feel some guilt there about a lot of it, but still, it feels like it's like 70% the Jedi's fault, maybe 30%. Also the twins' fault. The bad twin is what? Osha's the bad twin, right?
Osha becomes the bad twin.
No,
Osha becomes
Osha is like the good
May-
twin at the start.
yeah.
Okay, May's the one that is the bad one. So it's like the May seemed like a little serial killer child from the start. So she was always kind of seems messed up, like with
starting
the
fires and shit. Like,
which I didn't understand the point of her starting the fire. What was the point of that? I didn't understand that. And she locks everybody in the actual building there. She locks her sister in. Like, I get it. She don't want her sister to leave, but why is she locking the main gate there for, I guess, so the Jedi don't get in, I guess is the thing. So what happens at the end is, so there's this mystery. Who's killing the Jedi? Why are they killing the Jedi? It gets revealed that very early on that May's the one that's going after the Jedi. She's hunting them down. She has a twin sister who's Osha. Who at first the Jedi go and get her, Osha, because they think obviously they're identical twins. They go get her. They think she's the one doing it because May supposedly was the one that died when that whole incident happened. So they think that, it's got to be this one. Then they figure it out it's not. Then they go after. Then they figure it out why she's doing that. And we see through flashbacks what happened during that night. And we see their whole upbringing. And so they were children conceived of force powers. The coven that we see in it led by Jodie Turner-Smith basically it was, I guess, immaculate conception, I guess, with the Force, and raised these children there. But we learn that they're not actually twins; they're the same person, but it's like their consciousness has been split into two different people. That's the case there, and we see during the flashbacks that the Jedi that were on this mission to, I guess, do reconnaissance on this planet about the convergence, I guess, is what they were doing reconnaissance about, and they stumble upon this coven of witches. Like you said, they're very pushing it very heavy. They're like, no, we must save these children. And I feel this bond to this girl, like Soul, Master Soul, who's played by the actor from Squid Games. It's like he meets this girl for like 2 seconds, and all of a sudden he's like, I gotta have this girl as my Padawan. I don't know why. That's not really. I don't think that's a really good explanation there. I didn't really get that sense, but he has this strong connection to her. Carrie-Anne Moss is the only sensible one at a Jedi. She's the only one that's making sense of kind of going like, okay, well, let's
It's like,
actually ask
hey,
for hire first.
they don't,
Yeah.
yeah, let's talk to the High Council first before doing all this.
And
Did,
then
did she kill all the witches when she severed the bond between them and Kelnaka, the Wookiee? She like severed the bond and they all like collapsed. Were they dead?
I guess that's what I mean. If that hadn't killed him, well, the fire was gonna kill him anyway. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
Stuff like that. It's a weird show. Stuff like that. It's confusing.
so that whole was like that reveal was like wasn't really had this big impact. Like there's a lot of shows that feel like the show feels like it's supposed to have like it's supposed to punch you like, oh, with the reveal of who the Sith master was that was training him, it was him. It's like, okay, that's not really, I don't think, a big impact. And like, oh, who's the one that's really killing these people? Oh, okay, it's the twin there. What did you think about the impacts of the show, like the big moments of the show? What did you feel like? Did it have any impact for you there? The reveals, the twists,
The reveal of Kymer being the stranger was predictable. Saw it coming from like two episodes ago. So it was badass. The cortosis arm, the cortosis helmet, the fact that he like did a double impale of two Jedi. Yeah, it was I knew it. I saw it coming, and so it didn't hit the way it could have. What's another reveal? The fact that it was Soul who made all those poor choices. We kind of again saw that coming. We didn't know how bad, but because it's May who tells Osha when they're on the broken bridge, where's Mama? Mama's dead. Like, how do you know that? She knows that because she was there when Soul stabbed her when she turned to smoke. Like,
and what was the reason why he did it? Is this because I guess I don't know what she was exactly gonna do when she turned to smoke. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know.
Was she going to protect, like, to shield her daughter? Like, what? Like,
yeah, I don't know what she was going.
It's a weird show.
I mean, it's his fault that he killed her, but it was just I just didn't know, like,
yeah, like Soul is apparently trigger happy. Like he just jumped on his emotions, and that's fear. That's fear.
Yeah. But I didn't mean to cut you off there. What else were you saying there?
I forget what I was saying.
Okay. Yeah. So he kills her. He ends up killing Jodie Turner-Smith. Soul does, because the kid, the bitch ass Padawan, he's complaining, and then he wants to go home. He keeps talking about Coruscant, and he's the Padawan to Carrie-Anne Moss. That's his Padawan. So that's his master is Carrie-Anne Moss. And then so he's like, because when they discover what the twins are and how the twins were conceived, then they're like, oh, we have to get the twins and bring them back to Coruscant, bring them back to the High Republic and the Council, because this proves of what's going on here. We can't, prove it without these two here. Even though, I mean, they could have just radioed the High Council and then have them come down there. I don't know why they wouldn't believe Jedis of what they said, and then have come to the planet. But okay, so he goes over to their place. He tries to get them. I don't know exactly what his whole kind of thinking was. It was like he's just gonna go over there and kidnap them. I guess the Padawan was. Soul goes after him. Because the gate is locked, so he had to climb over the wall. Then they do this face off between the witches, and then Soul ends up stabbing her. okay, even though Jodie Turner-Smith, you learn that she was gonna let the one girl, Osha, go with the Jedi. She was gonna let her train because that's what the girl wanted. But the witches, even though there was a lot of the majority of the witches didn't want that because the girl was so powerful, I guess they didn't want that. Yeah, you gonna say something more?
And like, if she was going to let her go, start with that. Why are we fighting? Why are we getting on the defensive? Why are we shooting arrows at Torben, making this young man go off with the old lightsaber? Like, lead with that. Oh,
Yeah.
good, you're here. You can take Osha. The crisis is averted. It's the writing in the show. Like, it's very convenient. We need to get to this point, so anything has to happen. Like, we'll make anything happen just to get to where we need to be. That's a lot of the writing in the episodes I don't like of this show, and it's like 4 episodes like that.
Yeah. Just stuff has to happen because they need to happen. Doesn't really logically make any sense for them to really happen based on some of the characterization that we've seen from them in the show. And then at the very end, so what's his name? Khmer?
Chimera.
Chimera, he trains May. I know he trains Osha. He goes from training May to training Osha because I guess Osha is stronger with the Force than May is.
Osha truly is the acolyte, not May.
Yeah, and May gets her mind wiped by the Sith, by Manny Jacinto, and I guess that's it. And then she becomes the acolyte. Osha is the acolyte, and she gets to train under the Sith there. And we also see a Darth Plagueis cameo. Doesn't say anything, just kind of comes out the cave like he just woke up.
It's literally Glup. It's literally Glup Shitto.
Yeah, like doesn't do anything, just comes out the cave.
It's me, Blorko.
Puts his hand on the wall, all like menacingly, shows the Sith eyes, goes away. I'm like, okay.
What did you think about that? I mean, you're a big Star Wars guy. I mean, Darth Plagueis.
When it first happened, watching the finale, I was like, oh, like there it is. Like, how come that wasn't the focus? But like, because they're teasing a season 2 that's not guaranteed. That's the problem with the whole Darth Plagueis thing. Like, so we are going in that direction. Cool. This season was really rough. I don't know if they're going to be allowed to continue. If they do, then great. We'll get more Darth Plagueis in that story. But I don't. I mean,
so is this show supposed to tee up the emergence of the dark side of the Sith and how the Sith do their whole plan in episode 1? How they carry that? Is that what this is supposed to do?
I think it's meant to like show Plagueis, who eventually is Palpatine's master, and Plagueis is the one who created life and essentially created Anakin, with the slave woman Shmi Skywalker as like the host of of the Dark Force energy baby.
That's canon, so that he was immaculate kind of Force conception.
Yeah. So in Revenge of the Sith, when they're at the opera, and have they ever told you the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? That's an actual this scene. He's telling him, Anakin doesn't know it, but he's telling him how he came to be. Like, my master taught me show me how to create life through the Force, and he's talking about Anakin because when he says he was so powerful he could use the Force to create life. When he says it, he looks at Anakin, like it's very intentional. So I think that's where they could be going.
Yeah. So this is the scene right here. And they're watching. It's like they're watching the Windows 97 screensaver, I guess. I don't know, as opera.
He's talking about Anakin.
He had such a knowledge of the dark side.
Yeah. This older man's trying to groom this younger boy here. You're watching this. Yeah. I mean, it just seems like
Drake.
It seems like they're just trying to just do something to kind of throw it in. Also, Yoda comes in at the very end. Yoda doesn't say anything, but Yoda's here.
It's too late.
You see the ears.
Yeah, you see the ears. That's another like, oh, hey, it's a character we recognize. And
if the show was great, we could cheer for that moment, but it's not earned. The journey to the finale, which I love, was not great. It was rough. So Plagueis, cool. Yoda, cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if you did some more of the stuff showing the High Council, showing their politics there, because they don't want this to get out, right? They don't want this scandal to get out. It's almost like a Catholic Church type thing. Like they were like, we want to kind of keep this in house so it doesn't
Yeah,
spread.
and yeah, and yeah, there's a character that gets introduced in the last episode, which is David Harewood, who played Martian Manhunter on Supergirl. He's like a senator that is like trying to restrict the powers of the Jedi, and he's 100% right. It's like, no, I think you're a police force that's posing as a religion. I don't trust your ass, and he's right.
Yeah, really good
Yeah.
acting.
I love this new,
And I feel
not
like
really the new
if the
thing,
show
but
if the show leaned more into that, this could have been like something interesting or more special than it ended up being.
yeah, kind of like that one politician in Ahsoka who kept giving Hera a hard time. I feel like we need that in Star Wars. We need like a really asshole douchebag politician, even if they're right, to keep our heroes in check, like to remind them of what they're doing, and like you're kind of breaking the rules to do what you know. I personally really love that, and I agree with Nick. I wanted more of that guy in this show, keeping the Jedi in check, because the Jedi in this show, and like the prequels, they make a lot of bonehead decisions, and I'm like, this, you guys are going off of your emotions, and you're supposed to have those turned off, right?
Yeah.
So,
what will be your final thoughts and rating for Star Wars Acolyte there, Chris?
final thoughts. Leslie Helen is the showrunner for Russian Doll, and that show was like critically acclaimed. Everyone loved it. I'm not the Star Wars fan who's ever going to attack a creator. I don't blame Ryan Johnson. He's clearly a Star Wars fan. There's a lot of passion in The Last Jedi, and there's a lot of passion in The Acolyte. Leslie Headland is clearly a Star Wars fan in this show. We got Kyber Crystals bleeding. We got Plagueis. We got Cortosis. There's a lot of cool lore and canon in this show. Having said that, in the grand scheme of things, I think we were a little overly ambitious. Half of the show works for me, half of it does not. When she was promoting it at Star Wars Celebration, it was pitched as a Sith focused philosophy dark side story, and the show just is not that. It's like John Favreau pitching Boba Fett as a gangster story. It's very Godfather. There's like one table sit down scene, like that's mafia style, and I personally enjoyed Book of Boba Fett for what it was. I don't have attachment to the character, but it was fine. But still, it's just weird when these shows are pitched a certain way, and it builds the excitement, and you get those expectations, and then it just isn't that. It is a little disappointing. I love the diversity. Black women, Asian men leading Star Wars is fantastic. There's some cool stuff that happens, but overall, for me, The Acolyte was a disappointment. I think I have Andor, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Boba Fett, Acolyte, Kenobi. I think is where I have the
Kenobi dead last. Huh?
I had Kenobi should have been something. Oh, it was nowhere close to being what it should have been. So Kenobi was a massive disappointment for me personally. So that's why it's at the bottom.
So will be you give it a stream it?
Stream it. Yeah. You might like it. So people out there who are kind of a part of the everything Star Wars is good camp. There are people who do love the show, and so if you haven't watched it, you might like it. So definitely, I give it a stream it.
What about you, Nick? Final thoughts rating here.
I'm kind of there too. I'm kind of just as stream it. I like the performances from the actors, especially Lee Jung Jae, Amanda Stenberg, Manny Jacinto. They're the standouts of this. I love the action choreography that we get with this show. But yeah, like you were saying, that this show was pitched as, an exploration of the philosophy of the Sith, an exploration of all of that. And in that regard, the show is just kind of a letdown. It just doesn't have enough episodes. It doesn't take the time to really delve into that philosophy, the differences of both sides of that canon of the failings of the Jedi and the positives of the Sith. And ultimately, the show's just kind of let down. And as much as I like the finale of the Acolyte, it feels like it was more preoccupied on setting up a second season than it was on wrapping up the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would give it
Yeah,
a stream it, low stream?
Yep. Yeah, I'm kind of at a low stream it. The elements of this that work really work. Like with the choreography, like the action set pieces, seeing the different influences on the style of the fight scenes, especially when it gets a little bit of wuxia in here. Which this I don't care what none of y'all say. This shit's cool.
That's tough. That shit is tough, dog. I love that. It's amazing. I love it when Star Wars is martial arts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
It's tough.
I mean, there's some okay things to like about the show. Like I like some of the performance of Lee Jing Jae. I like him as Master Soul, and very impressive that he learned English for this role. That's very impressive there. And I think he's one that kind of gives the best kind of performance here for me. Amanda Steinberg, who I've seen in other things, I've liked in other things like Bodies. I liked her in that a lot. I've liked her in the Hunger Games movies. Here, I just wasn't that compelled by her. I mean, it should be a really great performance. Two sides of the same coin here. Playing this character, I really don't think maybe it's just not enough time spent there in that element of exploring a lot of the Sith stuff. And exploring the downward spiral of the dark side. Again, it's maybe the 8 episode curse that a lot of these Disney Plus stuff has. Maybe if you did 10 full hour episodes, maybe you could actually properly tell the story in a way that doesn't feel rushed. Because it all kind of rushes together at the end. Like Chris was saying, stuff just feels like writing wise just happens because it has to happen because we have to advance the story and that's the way the story has to go. The reveal of what happened at the end in the past, that's lame as hell. I'm kind of disappointed by this. Of kind of what happens. I so you and some of the other characters I liked in here. I like Daphne Keene, who just Daphne Keene just popped back up at Deadpool, Wolverine's X-23. Jackie there, but I mean she don't don't get too attached to her because she come out of there pretty soon. But yeah, I liked her. I thought she was good in there. I liked kind of her dynamic with it there.
Swiss cheese, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. And like Nick said, I mean, it seems like they're more
This is
preoccupied
gonna
about
ruin
setting
the
up.
tour, the world tour.
They kind of seems like they're more preoccupied with setting up a season 2 rather than fully telling this story. And then of course it's the dreaded, hey, we got to throw in some of these cameos. Let's throw in Darth Plagueis because that's what people want. It's just the first live action appearance of Darth Plagueis, right? This is the
ever.
very first live action appearance of Darth Plagueis. So just throw that in so people can feel like they want something and have something to cheer for. Yoda, of course, the cameo there at the end. It's like, okay. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of super mediocre, super plain. I would say it's for me maybe tied as the second worst Disney Plus show with this and Obi-Wan for me. So I kind of give it maybe a skip it. I just kind of give it a skip it. I don't think it's really worth that much people really tuning in, even if we stream it there. You can watch the action scenes online. You can check that out online, get the clips there if you want to see it. I don't think it's worth watching the show for. So yeah. So 2 kind of lower streamings, and I give it a tune out. Skip it there for Star Wars Acolyte there. Yeah. What's the next Disney Plus live action Star Wars show coming?
Skeleton Crew with Jude Law.
Okay. Skeleton Crew. Is that what that's like the Goonies type
Crew
thing?
And,
Goonies type, yeah.
Okay.
Skeleton Crew and season 2 of Andor, I think, is
yeah. Peak. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
One way out. One way out.
Are you going to be covering some stuff from San Diego Comic-Con?
Yeah, the entire
everything that piques my interest, I'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, the entire time with the whole time with the Andor with that episode with Andy Serkis, it was like he's just screaming one way out. I was like hyped up in my room just screaming, "Apes together strong!" Yeah.
Same energy.
But yeah. Let's do a quick review of The Boys here. Let me queue up this. And I don't want to keep Chris too long here. All right. So, our next review is going to be for the Amazon Prime series, The Boys. The Boys season 4. We're also doing a spoiler review for this since it's been out now. The season is done with. Um, and some people find this season to be kind of divisive with the boys, not really as overwhelmingly positive as other seasons has been, even though that really doesn't matter too much because viewership of this season has went up like 20% with this, so that still doesn't matter. But what's going on in this season of The Boys? Well, the boys are still trying to take down Vought. They're still trying to take down, most importantly, Homelander and his evil crew of soups. Now we have kind of more or less two big political factions kind of going at each other. The Starlighters here, who's led by Starlight, of course, and the people that support Homelander. You have a plot going on by Vought, by the suits here, to basically overtake the government via Victoria Newman, who's the VP, to the president. What's the president's name again?
Singer.
Singer, yes, Robert Singer there. To
Oh,
basically overtake
Bob Singer.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
overtake the president.
Eric Kripke regular with Jim Beaver.
Yeah. You have that kind of going on. So they're trying to figure out a way to do that. And there's also a virus they're trying to work out here that has a potential to maybe kill all the soups. They're finally ending their problems once and for all, if that's something that they want to do. That's kind of the setup here you have for this season 4. With this season, like I said, a lot of people been talking about it. A lot of people been kind of a little bit mixed on it. Do you guys think this season is not as strong as previous boy seasons?
It's kind of hard to say. I think where this season of the show, where it really shines with the performances by the actors, but I think as far as like an overall season of television, I feel like this is the most unfocused of the previous seasons of The Boys, because it kind of feels like it's spinning its wheels a little bit in some respects to set up the, now announce that the 5th season is going to be the final season of The Boys. Because you spend so long before they get into the real plot of the season with them trying to get the virus to wipe out all soups, or at the very least kill Newman and Homelander.
Yeah. What about for you, Chris?
Yeah, I think kind of like The Bear, season 2, like the last season was really strong. Going into the next season, we kind of wanted more of that momentum. And I understand if what I was seeing a lot of for the criticism, season 4 is too heavy-handed with the commentary. It's too on the nose, too hammer on the nail with the satire. They're not even trying to be subtle about it. They're just reflecting our world. And I'm like, well,
no, they kind of always doing that.
That's the show, right? That's since season 1. They've been mocking it's satire. And I understand if it is, maybe season 4 is a little heavy-handed on the nose, but it's necessary because a lot of bigots and Proud Boys and all those crazy people out there who are just dangerous, they saw this season and they got upset at how they were being represented.
Homelander's the bad guy?
I thought he was the hero. I thought he was Superman. No. Are you not watching since season 1? He's insane. He's fucking crazy.
How can he be the bad guy? He's literally wearing the American flag.
Blonde hair, blue-eyed. How is he the bad guy? He's straight cis white man. Like, how he's the hero. So I understand that, but that's, for me, that's the power of satire. So these people can see themselves. Maybe it's not likely, but maybe they'll learn from. Maybe there's something to gain from seeing yourself being represented honestly, even if it's not in a positive light. So I think in that regard, season 4 was successful, and I'm happy it was in that way. I'm happy those people saw themselves as the bad guys, because their ideology is harmful, and it's only going to tear this country apart in The Boys and in real life. So I personally enjoyed season 4. I think season 3 is my favorite still, with Soldier Boy and Hero Gasm and all that crazy stuff in season 3.
As Chris mentioned here, a lot of people talk about the politics in it. Is it too heavy-handed? Are they just, people say they're just taking Twitter and Reddit comments and then putting it into the show?
Well, You also kind of got to think about where the company Vought is at this point in the show, because Homelander's like fired everybody competent and surrounded himself with sycophants. So all of the stuff that we are seeing with Vought, that kind of really speaks to him. It was like, just say my point of view explicitly. I mean, as much as it's kind of cringe, the like puppet show that you see in episode 7, it's like, why are you so sad, A-Train? Antifa.
Yeah.
Oh, that had me dying, and the song is actually kind of a banger.
So I mean, yeah. So you do have a lot of that. I mean, here I think it maybe seems a little bit more political because you're dealing with actual two political parties here. You actually are, kind of leftist and maybe more, right wing, far right wing here, with the Starlighters, and then more with the Homelanders, which is just basically MAGA people. So I think maybe that's also why it seems like that. But if the comic, it kind of has to go that way because in the comic it's all about the government takeover there, and the soup's kind of doing that. And the person assistant, we have some new characters here with it, where you have Sister Sage, who kind of comes in here, who's the smartest person in the entire world here. That's her superpower. And it's a very weird thing that she kind of allows her to have that superpower that we see. As much of the boys is, there's always a dark turn with a lot of the superpowers. What did you think about Sister Sage there, Chris?
I really liked her, of course.
I loved Susan Hayward. Yeah, I loved Susan Hayward's performance because she feels like a character that is genuinely the smartest person in the world, but so much of her motivation is that she is cursed with that intelligence. But because she's a black woman, everybody kind of overlooks her and undermines her. Even in episode 6, she kind of has a moment with Victoria Newman. It was like, yeah, I did my research, I presented a cure to cancer, and the doctors all just laughed at me. So yeah, fuck all humans.
Yeah. What about you there, Chris?
Yeah. When she's introduced and she's as a soup, and that's her power is her intellect. It kind of reminded me of Domino from Deadpool 2. Her power is luck. And how does that work in a story? And it's so interesting to think that this black woman, her brain is like a super brain, and every now and then, what I found interesting about her character and really intriguing, every so often she kind of turns off her brain. She gives herself a lobotomy to help herself. It's like smoking weed for her. It's like she needs to chill, she needs to relax, she needs to turn off her brain for a little bit. So it's either in the eye or like a gunshot, but I need to scrape my brain for a little bit to.
Yeah, it's like literally it's like,
because it's like a constant supercomputer.
And seeing the layers of how that's used, especially for humor, because she hooks up with the Deep during this season, and she has to lobotomize herself in order to tolerate him, which leads to one of the funniest laughs in episode 7 because she's also fucking the new Black Noir. It's like, wait, what do you mean lobotomizing herself? Bro.
So the stuff with Sister Sage, I like the actress a lot. I think she's good. And her power being the super intelligence there. But it seemed like, because in this you realize she's 5 steps ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, we see super intelligence used more for, especially in comics and superhero media. We see it used more for political means, like business means, and I like that we're seeing it more for using actual social psychology and seeing the different layers that kind of intelligence takes, especially with how she's pitting the Starlighters and the Home Teamers against each other, even including convincing Homelander to add a Firecracker, who's played by Valerie Curry, to the 7, because her powers, they are not impressive at all. She's basically like lower level of Jubilee from X-Men. But she's basically like this show's version of Alex Jones crossed with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah. And so the stuff with Sister Sage there, with her super intelligence, I think sometimes, I mean, seems like there's not really much of a difference between her having that and then precognition. Because I mean, she's predicting everything that's going to happen, and then when the final episode comes around, even when after Homelander kicks her off the team, she's like, this was already according to plan. Everything I knew was already going to happen. I mean, did you think that was just a little too much there? That if I just feel like they didn't show her super intelligence in a way that really articulated it very well on screen, as opposed to just if you just said she had
No,
maybe precognition.
It worked for me as far as showcasing her super intelligence, because even from jump, from their first interactions, she knows exactly the type of person that Homelander is.
Yeah,
she knows that. Yes, yeah, I know that I'm dead because I'm a black woman and you can't take any kind of criticism.
yeah. It just seems like some of the things, like
And
for this
the
to go
real
according to plan there. Oh yeah, good. No, yeah, it just seems like
whenever we're seeing whenever it's revealed that all the events of the show were like according to plan, we don't even know that this was like her plan A. For all we know, this was like her plan B all the way through Z. It was like all different like contingencies, all different possibilities that could have happened.
Yeah, it just seemed like some of these things,
Like did she know for sure that it requires a lot of convenience, at least in some respects, because I'm pretty sure like her plan was, like kill Newman. The Shifter records Bob Singer saying that he ordered the hit on Victoria Newman. Did she know that it would go exactly the way that she said? Probably not. But she had that plan, like in at least the basic gist of it.
Yeah. What about for you, Chris? What do you think?
I kind of agree with you, Josh. The finale when she returns, it kind of felt like David Ayer's Suicide Squad when Amanda Waller just finds a way from being captured and like just walks back to the group after the battle's done. Like, wait, where'd you come from? Like, I wish, to your point, I wish they showed where she was when she was kicked out. Maybe that would have helped, make her return make more sense. Like I understand she, could foresee this, because she's so smart and she can read people, she can read scenarios. But I do wish there was something a bit more to hint towards her knowledge and being in control. I felt like, they did for the most part just say she's really smart. And when she was first hired and working with Homelander, we saw that. But in the end, again, like you said, the whole it was all according to plan. It did feel a little convenient, kind of similar to like the Acolyte's convenient writing. Like, okay, but how? Like what did you do while you were gone? That's my curiosity.
Yeah, because like some of the information, like Victoria Newman, so the person who ends up killing her is Butcher. His Butcher, him having taken all that compound V from last season, it's made him sick. Now he's got terminal, brain cancer.
Yeah, it's like he took the 10th. Yeah, he took the 10th V, which gave him cancer, and it's revealed that he took real compound V, and all that like mixed into his cancer, and gave him super tumors, or as Jeffrey Dean Morgan calls it, super cancer.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, so that stuff like that, I just felt like, that would require you to know what he was going through and know that he had this ability and know that the ability was strong enough to kill Victoria Newman, who she's even more powerful than she was.
Well, in Sage's mind, I think it was either going to be, she was probably banking on the virus being the thing that killed her.
The virus right there.
But, different possibilities, but, it all worked out in the end for her.
Okay. And then you also mentioned the new soup that we have here. Part of it is Firecracker, played by Valerie Curry, who's also very good. She's the new addition here. Like you said, like Nick said, very much the Marjorie Taylor Greene there. Eric Kripke even said so, very much of a stand-in for that type of figure there. What'd you think about her character and her addition and what she kind of brought to the show there? Chris, what about you?
I liked her a lot, especially.
Go ahead, Nick.
Chris, go ahead.
Yeah,
I liked her.
I think it's funny that The Boys keeps doing this. Like in season 2, they casted a Jewish woman to play a Nazi, and now they played a lesbian to play this Fox and Friends, Christian, Gossip America, Apple Pie Baseball Woman, to play this character. And the history she has with Starlight and the pageantry, her mild competition with Sage, with trying to be Homelander's right hand. She was interesting, especially when she came for Starlight's medical records, and then they kind of flipped the script on her and outed her as a child predator because she had sex with a minor years ago.
Trying to strike a chord, that was probably a minor.
And the way in our real world people do crazy things that should get them canceled, but they find a way to turn it and be like, oh, I know I made some mistakes, but I found God. I found religion. It's like, I'm sorry, but Mark Wahlberg, he had a history of attacking minorities, and then he became a Catholic, and now it's stuff like that's being reflected really well. And where we are right now in The Boys, I really like Firecracker's placement. I am curious to see where she goes next, because by the end of this season, she's coughing. I think forcing herself to lactate, whatever she's taking to be Homelander's new mommy, it's having an effect on her. I'm not sure why she's coughing, but it's clearly connected to what she's doing to her body.
Yeah, it's like, the medicine, it's like it supposedly it enlarges the heart a little bit, and it like forces lactation, and that's not good for you.
It's not safe.
And I love how every time she coughs, Homelander, Anthony Starr just looks so disgusted.
Really great stuff with Anthony Starr. Again, still really is one of the great thing about this show. Anthony Starr there as Homelander. A lot of reasons people really watch this show, love this show, love to hate him. Some people just love him. There, his performance again off the charts here as they.
And that speaks to and his performance. If it was great before, it is perfection, especially in episode 4, Wisdom of the Ages, where he goes back to the lab where he was raised.
That was really good too. So with this, I think where it kind of loses me this season, and why I don't think it is as strong as other seasons, is because I feel like the show, it didn't rely on shock value, but I think that was kind of some of the big thing about the show is like, oh, can you believe this happened on the episode of The Boys? And then this is like when they do the episode where they have to infiltrate the party with all the politicians and they're hosting the event. It's like, I already knew it was going to be some freaky shit. I already knew that when Huey was going to go down there, it's going to be
especially because it's a Tech Knight who, was introduced in the show, and at least in Gen V, he was like this kind of Sherlock Holmes-esque detective character. And in this show, he's basically Diddy.
Pretty much. I mean, pretty much that's kind of going on there. At least what we think with all the stuff in the sex dungeon is consensual, as we kind of understand it, maybe. So I already knew that was kind of going to go on, and like that shock kind of value in the show, it just seems like it just tried too hard this season to do that, to like have that kind of shock value moment there when it comes to the sexual stuff or the violent stuff. And then when you really think about it, also this had like a Wonder Woman 84 type thing where you had somebody get raped basically there with Huey, and then twice in the season there, when you kind of think about it, which was very strange that they had that in this season. What you all think about that, El?
Yeah, that's something that I'm not crazy about.
Yeah.
It's one of the few plot points that I think the show kind of fumbles the bag a little bit, especially considering, in the pilot, Starlight is, sexually assaulted by the Deep, and how seriously that's taken, how much concern is placed on that storyline. Meanwhile, it's, I think, kind of played for laughs, at least according to Eric Kripke with Huey this season. But I feel like they kind of save themselves a little bit considering how that episode ends, because this is Huey after he's lost his father, and he just tries to dive back into work, and he breaks down at the end of the episode.
That's some good emotional stuff there.
Where I think it kind of, it's some great emotional stuff, especially this show. I think the emotion of it, I think, really sings, especially with the subplot with Huey's father.
Who's played by Simon Pegg in this there, who is the original inspiration for the Huey character in the comic, the look there, but now he's too old, so they made him as kind of fan service. They made him the father there. There's some good episodes, I think, this season. I think you mentioned the episode where he's with his father, where there was that kind of horror thing where they made him take Compound V there when he was dead, and they brought him back to life with that. I thought that was pretty good there, pretty good moment there. Also, the typical stuff with the boys. You have now Mother's Milk, who's the leader of the boys this season. They stressing him the fuck out. Damn, that brother got to take some pills or something. Like they giving him hives. They just he's about to have a brain aneurysm. They stressing that brother out so much.
Yeah. And that was a thing where, a lot of the criticism of the show, I feel like it's unfairly placed on a lot of the actors and how their appearances have changed over the course of the season. Because Lance Alonso, he lost a lot of weight in between seasons 3 and 4, but the man just cut back on the cheeseburgers once in a while. But I think that's a change that actually works for the character, considering the weight and the burden of being the leader of the boys has placed on him.
Yeah. So it actually kind of works there a little bit, actually, for the story that they're kind of telling there. Do you think, we talked about a little bit of Star Wars Acolyte, and The Boys has always had 8 seasons, and it seems like they were able to really accomplish a lot in those kind of 8 seasons. I mean, those 8 episodes there. But do you think this season needed more episodes? Because it seems like they kind of go other places, like the whole Kamiko stuff, and then that storyline of her in her past, and then stuff with more Frenchie in his past. It just seemed like that didn't seem really as much care was really devoted to that, and really didn't go anywhere, as opposed to what was happening with the rest of the season.
It felt like that, like they were the two characters that kind of got the short end of the stick as far as storytelling goes, because like you were saying, it's like their stories aren't really that well developed, because Frenchie's kind of like ridden with guilt over all the murders he committed in service of Little Nina, who was introduced last season, and he goes to jail for like 1 episode, and then he's instantly back.
Yeah,
it feels like this is a subplot that would have been better served if it was introduced earlier, if more time was developed to it, if we at least got like 1 or 2 episodes with Frenchie in jail and seeing how Kamiko was affected by it. But I think Kamiko's subplot is probably the most egregious, because it is speaking to her character, because they really try and explore this theme of forgiveness of oneself in this season, of forgiveness in general, because Huey forgives A-Train, Kimiko and Frenchie are trying to learn how to forgive themselves, especially with Butcher being on death's door the whole season, trying to reconcile with all the things that he's done. I feel like with Kimiko, we needed to explore it more, because I think the performance is good. I liked the shades that are introduced to her character, that were introduced but weren't really explored before. And Karen Fukuhara giving an incredible performance, not speaking a word of dialogue until the final episode.
Yeah. What did you think, Chris? Was that kind of some of the weakest storylines for you? Was the Kamiko Frenchie stuff, or was something else the weakest kind of for you?
Yeah, I agree. As much as I appreciated the flashbacks and the character development and the detail, it clearly was not the focus of the season. I saw complaints that that people thought it was even lacking Huey. Like Huey wasn't like a focus of the season. But I am very happy that Kimiko finally spoke. Historically, it is a harmful trope, the Asian character who doesn't speak. And so I'm glad that's kind of over. I hope in season 5 she speaks even more. Frenchie too. It was there, but it clearly was not the focus. If I can real quick go back to Huey and the sexual assault, that's my biggest issue with the season for me personally. It goes back to Revenge of the Nerds when he tricks the cheerleader into sleeping by keeping the Vader helmet on. She thinks she's sleeping with her boyfriend, so that's rape.
Yeah.
That's rape. You don't have consent. She thinks she's giving her boyfriend consent, but you tricked her, so that's assault. So in season 4 of The Boys, when the shapeshifter and Huey fuck 20 times, Huey got sexually assaulted like 21 times.
And
in the dungeon with Tech Knight, and then with the shapeshifter.
There was a something that I also think isn't really sitting well with audiences is Starlight's reaction to Huey sleeping with the shapeshifter. She got upset understandably, but a lot of those reactionaries don't take into account that like a couple minutes later in the episode, she says, "You are getting tested for every disease known to man."
Yeah, and that's
it's like she comes around. She understands.
Yeah, and that's warranted, but like, you know, she herself in season 1 was sexually assaulted, and for her to have no empathy, for her not to see it that way, like he thought it was you. He did not know it wasn't, like until like, you know, in that same scene he explains how eventually he figured it out. But yeah, I don't like the way this season handled Huey going through that. Like they kind of gloss over it. And in the episode where he breaks down after the first time he's sexually assaulted, he breaks down because of his dad. And he's like, you know, rushing back into work, and no one addresses the fact that he lost his dad. He just got raped. Like it's a lot going on that they kind of don't address. And that's my biggest issue with season 4.
Yeah. You mentioned Kamiko talking, so that's one of the big things that happens in the finale, along with the fact that the boys lose. The boys lose this season. They don't accomplish the mission of getting rid of Homelander.
This is the Empire Strikes Back season.
Yeah. You see that they failed. Sister Sage, her master plan worked there. All the pieces fell into place. Homelander basically gets installed as the dictator of the world, of basically the world, or just at least the United States here, as we see. And the boys have to go on the run, not for long, because we see they get captured. I don't know how Butcher manages to escape there. All of the rest of them get captured, but he managed to escape. Maybe he killed the people that tried to capture him.
Cancer.
You know, that kind of
super cancer.
I mean, I guess, but okay, he's the only one that makes it out, but all the other boys are the ones that. Well, actually, Annie also makes it. I forgot she flies away there. Yeah, and that was actually a very cool moment there. She actually flies moment there.
Yeah,
because she's been having a little bit of a Spider-Man 2 kind of
identity
issue
crisis. Yeah, she's having an identity crisis this whole season, because she's like trying to reconcile the way her mother raised her, which, you know, especially in this show and even in Gen V, they established that a lot of the parents of Soups really fucking suck. They are awful people. It was like the news about you know, Starlight having the abortion. Her mom, it's like, no, she's making it all about her. It's like, they kicked me out of Bible group because of you. It's like, fuck you.
Fuck your Bible group.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I do think the final episode ends strong, because it does set up the season 5 and, you know, leading into that, which I think was very nice. And seeing kind of what's going to happen there.
Yeah, especially with you know, especially reintroducing, I think, one of the best characters the show's introduced with the, you know, Fab Five Freddy told me everybody's flies. With reintroducing Soldier Boy.
Yeah. Which they already confirmed Jason Eccles, is going to be in season 5. They're starring in that as well. And I think they're also working on a prequel series too, with him and the Stormfront character about the rise of Nazi Soups, I guess. There.
Vought Rising, which is a prequel set in the 50s about, you know, how Vought came to power, which I don't know how much legs that show's going to have, considering we know how both of those characters end up.
Yeah.
But I was saying similar things about Gen V, and I love that show.
Yeah. I was going to mention, Chris, you're a big fan of Gen V. How'd you like the Gen V connections here? That show.
It was great. I wish maybe they hinted towards where the good kids were, because we get the bad kids who follow Homelander. I forget their names, but the guy is just like really strong and like really like durable. He's strong and he's hard, like his skin's hard to pierce. And then the girl, if she touches you, she can make you do whatever she wants you to do. So they were well utilized. It's the way they're plugged in. You definitely need to watch Gen V, or else you have no idea who they are or what they're doing there. So I thought it was well utilized. I just wish with them we got a hint, just a glimpse of where the other kids are, the good kids. But I liked how they were plugged in, because I enjoyed Gen V.
Yeah, and so I think they said so. Gen V season 2 is going to happen, and that's going to lead into The Boys season 5.
Yeah.
And I imagine that because if you remember at the end of Gen V season 1, they got captured. A lot of the good kids got captured, so they're thinking like the boys who also got captured are going to meet them, and then they're going to break out and they're going to form a resistance. Andy is also going to form a resistance there with like A-Train. He had a good redemption arc this season. There was that great moment where he saved Mother's Milk, and that kid looked at him like a real hero. Like that was his feeling of actually being a real hero, which was really nice. It seemed like at the end we didn't really get to see. Did we see Ryan at the end there? Of like really, what is he sticking by Homelander's side? Is he just kind of off in the wind? Or
right now he's off in the wind. After killing the woman who's, I forget her name, but she was like the sponsor of the boys since season 1. Mallory, yeah. He finds out that they're using him the way they use his father, Homelander. He goes, "I'm not a weapon. Like I thought this was like a sincere meetup, like just us. But no, you want to train me to kill my own dad? Like what the hell? I'm 10. Like no." And she goes, "Ryan, please, like we love you." And I'm like, "Son, you're gonna die. Like this is so, you're gonna die. Like he's gonna push you. All he has to do is push you really, like with his strength, and he does exactly that. And she dies, and then he walks off. So we don't. Season 4 ends with Ryan. We don't know where he's going. It doesn't seem like he's on his father's side, because he storms off of the set. He doesn't want the song. He hates the song that he's singing. He called his dad to complain about it. His dad said, "Suck it up and do it." And then he says, "Cut it. My mom would not believe in this. She raised me better than this. Listen to your parents. Listen to your loved ones. They usually have your best interest at heart." And he leaves. And Homelander, his face, he's
twitching.
He's crazy. So Gen V kids, Ryan. I wish we knew where they were, but hopefully we'll find out in season 5.
Yeah. So final thoughts, Chris, Raiden. Do you think this season is weaker than other past boy seasons?
It's definitely weaker than season 3. I think season 3 is incredible. Jansen Eccles as Soldier Boy, incredible, so funny, but like in just a strong way, if that makes sense. Like it's not Ryan Reynolds Deadpool funny, but he's just like a very macho man saying a lot of wild shit. Like, how about you gargle my ball sack? I'm like, whoa, like what? Whoa, take it easy. He's like, damn, this is a strong drink. Reminds me of Bill Cosby's drinks. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? I enjoyed season 4, but to answer your question, I think season 3 was stronger. We didn't talk about yet Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That is how you do a reveal.
I clocked it. Yeah, I clocked it pretty quick.
That you did? I didn't know.
Kessler is a hallucination. It's like I think I figured it out by like episode 3, but the reveal of it that was actually really well done. And it's like, because The Boys is one of those shows that is actually, in many regards, it's so much superior to the comic. And I feel like Kessler, he's very much just the comic version of Butcher.
Okay. What would be your rating there, Chris, for The Boys?
But yeah, sorry, just real quick. For me, I didn't see it coming. So when he finally addressed Becca's spirit, and like bitch, shut the fuck up. I was like, whoa, you can see it. Oh, then what are you? And then that reveal was like, man, Acolyte, take notes. That's how you do reveal. That shocked me. I was like, that's fantastic. So yeah, I just want to talk about that real quick because Jeffrey Dean Morgan is an actor with so much presence and gravitas. His facial expressions, his voice, he is just very commanding in all of his scenes. Overall thoughts.
Yeah,
I think
he's such a good actor. Yeah, he's such a good actor. They gave Negan his own spin-off show.
Yeah. For me, obviously, as a black man, as a young black man, A-Train, I gravitate towards what he's going through, and I love his redemption arc. It's giving Prince Zuko. So yeah, that little light-skinned black child who saw a hero he knows and looks up to, but he finally saw him do something heroic, and that was the first time A-Train didn't hate himself. Like, wow, I'm actually now a hero, even though my brother was like, your saves are fake, your career as a hero is fake, you are a test tube baby, all that stuff. A-Train for me really stole the show this season. I hope it's not likely he survives season 5. Homelander will find him and probably put an end to him, sadly.
Oh,
yeah, that boy's cooked. But before he goes out, he's gonna do some hopefully more heroic stuff. I like Sister Sage, even though she's on the dark side. I hope Kimiko talks more in season 5. Butcher's super cancer. I don't know what's happening with that. Annie finally flying, taking off like Henry Cavill style, breaking the sound barrier with her speed. That was really cool. Overall, I think satire is important. I think this season did a good job at showing the bigots and just the monsters in this world, in this country, who they are. I'm glad people didn't like it for that reason. I think it's important that they see themselves in that way. But in the end, it's not my favorite season. Even though I enjoyed it, I like season three more. But of course, I'm looking forward to season 5. And rest in peace to Newman, Claudia Dumet. She's so fine. She is so fine. I had to say it. I had to say it.
Oh god,
she's stunning.
She killed people. But have you considered that she's beautiful?
She can pop my head. I don't care.
Hey, I believe in women's rights.
She can pop my head, and I'll apologize.
Hey, I believe in women's rights and I believe in women's rights and wrongs. And as far as I'm concerned, she did nothing wrong.
There you go.
Yeah. So you would give it kind of a lowish tune in?
Definitely stream it. It's not the worst thing in the world at all. It's wildly entertaining. The violence and the bloodshed is definitely gratuitous. My older brother did say it's stupid. The season he said the season was stupid. He didn't like the heavy-handed satire. Yeah, I understand if it's not for everyone. It's a lot of gore. Some of it is unnecessary, the way characters go out. Yeah, definitely stream it. It's for me, The Boys is still one of the best things on television right now. It's right along with Invincible. It's really like the flagship for Prime Video. I think it's like one of their biggest shows. It definitely is one of their biggest shows, and yeah, it did the right thing. It released weekly along with House of the Dragon and The Acolyte. It's remaining in the conversation. It's topical. It's relevant, and yeah, The Boys is great television. So definitely, what's your tier above stream it?
We have tune in.
Tune in.
Okay.
Yeah, tune in.
What about you, Nick? Final thoughts and rating there.
I'm kind of there with you, Chris. I think the show overall, I think this is the weakest season of The Boys, but The Boys was and still is one of my favorite comic book shows on television. It was appointment viewing for me. Every episode, I was gripped to my seat. Even though I think the show is kind of disserviced by the rushed pacing, some of the writing decisions, how they play off Huey's essay in the show more for laughs. The fact that Kimiko and Frenchie kind of got a little bit sidelined in the season, and that I really wish they explored more of the dynamic between Ryan and Butcher, and because the show, even in Eric Kripke was saying that the show was kind of like this season, excuse me, was like the battle for Ryan's soul, and I wish we got a little bit more of a solid resolution with that,
Well,
especially leading into both Gen B season 2, which is coming out next year, and The Boys' final season in 2026.
yeah. Maybe
But
Ryan will
I
make the
still
last
love this
episode.
show. I think, yeah, with me, I think the show, when it is good, it is fucking great, especially with the performance of Anthony Starr with the redemption arc that we see for A Train, who was, when the show first came out, he was like one of the most despicable characters on the show, and I like the contrast between him and the Deep in this, because we have two characters that were at rock bottom in season 2, where they had to join Scientology in order to get back, and where A Train used that to try and redeem himself, become a better person. The Deep just doubled down on being a shitheel. Even a hilarious vocal performance from Tilda Swinton as his octopus girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah. This season, there's still some things to like about it. I do think this is the weakest season of The Boys so far. That doesn't mean it's terrible. I mean, a weak season of The Boys is still better than a lot of other superhero TV out there right now. Um, 8 episodes. Maybe they needed a little bit longer to more flesh out. Like if you were going to do the Kimiko and Frenchie stuff, I feel like there's not enough time devoted to it, and just the conclusions to those feel like it doesn't really matter, to the overall story as much. There, I get it gives some more development for Kimiko, especially because she's trying to go through therapy and learn to talk again, and unpack her trauma there. But with the Frenchie stuff, it's like I say, he goes to jail, then he comes out again, and it's like, okay, there's not really much consequence there with that. Still, and then we mentioned some of the problematic stuff with Huey and that sexual stuff that's played up for laughs in it that I didn't think was too good in the show. Also, the stuff also with Mother's Milk, also that stuff sexually they do with him, like the dick slapping stuff, and then even in last season, getting covered in all that cum and all that stuff, and then he got squirted in the face by the fake ass Spider-Man in this, and all this. So they do a lot of that stuff there that's played for jokes.
Yeah, anatomically correct Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was kind of like,
Yeah,
I didn't really.
that I think that's like, to me, 6 is the weakest episode of the season because it just was going for that gross out humor, and I felt ill when I was watching it.
Yeah. So I
Like,
think that
yeah,
stuff
this is too much.
doesn't work here, and also the like you said, it's kind of running into like a wall. I hope they don't do that as much because now we're in the end game. Now with season 5, they don't go too much of like the weird sexual stuff here, like the stuff with the. I get Homelander likes titty milk. I get it. A lot of those just kind of felt like it just doesn't really work
Yeah,
here as
Homelander's
much.
got a mommy fetish.
Is it's like, okay, it's not as funny here, I think it was in previous seasons. Um, so yeah, I mean, some of those things are lacking here. I think those things are not
The
as good here.
hilarious thing is because the hilarious thing is like he hates Firecracker and then he instantly folded.
Yeah. Even with the milk, I think I was like, even at the he still kind of doesn't even really like her all that much, really. Uh, Yeah, so I'm excited to see season 5. This is going to be the final season. I think this is a good point to where to leave things off at. Still good performance for Anthony Starr. Still steals the show as Homelander. I still think he does a fantastic job there. And then the boys, I just think the boys this season feel a little disconnected. And not talking about the show, I'm talking about the characters themselves. The boys feel a little bit more disconnected than they did in previous seasons there. Yeah. So for me, I would give it a tune in. I'd give it still a kind of a tune in around that territory there for the boys. Chris gave it a tune in. Nick, you also gave it a tune in as well. There. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like at that lowest tune in. I think this is the weakest season of The Boys, but it's like it's kind of like the worst Christopher Nolan movie. It's like even when Nolan is like on a decline, it's like his movies are still watchable and entertaining or interesting to talk about.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the boys season 4 review. I know, Chris, you're gonna hop on. It's big news that just dropped. Did you hear about it?
I'm looking at it right now. I was about to show you right now.
Ooh,
Big news that just
yeah,
dropped.
we got to talk this breaking news.
Breaking news. Damn.
Breaking news right here. I'll put it on the screen.
San Diego Comic-Con, Hall H.
San Diego Comic-Con. They revealed who's playing Doom. Then it's Robert Downey Jr. He's gonna be
Robert Downey Jr.
Doctor Doom. It's gonna be 2 new Avengers movies. It's gonna be Avengers Doomsday, and then Avengers Secret Wars. I think they were saying is the other one there. So yeah, quick thoughts, quick reaction. What do you guys think about that?
I don't like it. Sorry.
You don't like?
I don't like Downey coming back to play a pivotal villain.
Yeah. What about you, Nick?
I mean, I mean, if it turns out good, I will happily eat my words. But
Exactly.
Robert Downey Jr. Coming back to play him, I'm not sure how I feel about that casting. I feel like you could have literally cast anybody else as Doctor Doom, somebody who isn't so closely tied to Marvel and the MCU.
Yeah.
But there are the MCU isn't like one for one with the comics. I feel like there is a way you can turn Doctor Doom into a variant of Tony Stark. A guy who is very egomaniacal, who is very narcissistic, and that is kind of Tony Stark, at least when he was first introduced. So there is a way you can use that as turning Doom into a Stark variant. But I feel like it's kind of a missed opportunity considering how deeply tied Doom is to the Fantastic Four and to other characters in the Marvel continuity.
Yeah. So this is it. Avengers Doomsday was coming out. That's not that long from now. May 2026, and then Avengers Secret Wars, which is May 2027. So Robert Downey Jr. It is official. He is going to be playing Doctor Doom. Now, like you said, I don't know if it's going to be where he's a variant of Tony Stark and then turns into Doctor Doom, or he's going to be playing the Victor Von Doom actual character there. I don't know that as of yet. But the timeline, I don't know, it's going crazy right now for this right now. A lot of people are really super excited to see Robert Downey Jr. come back with him as Doctor Doom. A lot of people love, of course, he started this whole MCU thing with the first Iron Man movie. But like Chris said, I don't know. I mean, it seems like is this desperation? Them going back, getting Robert Downey Jr.?
That's what it feels like. It feels really too safe. It feels way too obvious. I wish they got someone with a voice. Josh Brolin has a voice. Javier Bardem has a voice. There are actors who can bring that. I don't think of Downey Jr. is a great actor. We know he's a great actor. Mm-hmm. Can he bring that imposing presence that Doctor Doom has? I don't know. He's a 6-year-old white guy. He's kind of he's not a big guy at all. I don't know. I wish it was rumored. It was talked about. I would sooner be happier with Cavill as Doctor Doom than it feels too safe. It feels too safe.
Yeah. You know who would have been a great Doctor Doom? Dave Bautista.
Exactly.
I feel like he would have been, brought that screen presence.
Wow.
Exactly.
And they showed also a lot of stuff from Fantastic Four. They showed a lot of stuff from there too. Presumably, obviously, Fantastic Four are going to square off with Doctor Doom when they show up in the Avengers film. They already confirmed that the Fantastic Four will be in the 2 Avengers movies. They already said that as well. But I don't know. It seems like I don't know what you're seeing on your timeline.
And the Russo brothers are back as directors for both Avengers movies.
Dang. Well, I don't know. That even seems like more desperation. Like y'all really trying to go back to the well again, trying to strike up that magic. Oh, I can't say who's that?
It's Instagram.
Oh, it's Instagram.
It's bright.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, my timeline is just Hall H, Robert Downey Jr., Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Secret War. Now with the Russo brothers, I feel a little bit that makes sense because of what they've done in the past for the MCU. And if Deadpool is telling Wolverine, you're joining at a low point, that's hilarious. Then if you want to come out of that low point, it makes sense you go back to directors who can guarantee a hit, from Winter Soldier and Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. The Russo brothers have made 4 consecutive hits for the MCU. So if we're if we're currently in a low point, it makes sense that we want our stars back to kind of helm, our movies.
Yeah. So, like I said, this is it. Yeah, like Nick said, Russo Brothers will be directing here. Avengers Doomsday, Robert Downey Jr. stars Doctor Doom, released in May 2026, and Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts will appear in the movie. There. I don't know. Some people say, yeah, you have this right here. Somebody said Robert Downey Jr. showing up as Doctor Doom said, "Nigga, how?" You got that. And then this person says Kevin Feige doesn't realize that he didn't. Kevin Feige doesn't realize that he didn't just kill the last remaining goodwill he had with a lot of the fans. He shoved an AK-47 barrel down that goodwill's throat and fired until the ammo ran out. This person said, very graphic visual.
Come on, man. Why?
He's not even evil Stark variant. He's actually Victor Von Doom. So is he? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. This person saying he's actually Victor Von Doom. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you guys see anything where he says he's playing actually Victor Von Doom or he's just playing Doctor Doom, the actual just super villain persona. I don't see that.
It feels
I'm
this
going
is
to
kind of a letdown, especially considering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
This feels like a letdown with the casting announcement, considering Marvel, if nothing else, they're always like hitting it out of the park with casting actors, especially with different characters. And I feel like just having Robert Downey Jr., it feels like too much of a safe bet, or at the very least a very weird choice for a character like Doom.
Yeah. Yeah. How long has it been since Endgame? Since he was there? Endgame
Yeah,
2019. Like 5 years?
5 years.
Yeah. So and then when this comes out, it'll be 6 years.
5 years since.
That's not even all that long since he's been.
It's not that long.
Yeah.
It's like getting the Ray movie. Like it hasn't been that long.
Oh yeah. Like
it's been 5 years. Like, all right.
I mean, we haven't even. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some people really miss Robert Downey Jr. I mean, they really feeling that, like
Sure.
But I don't know. I mean, I would have much rather you preferred to maybe cast someone else. I would.
That's all. Cast an unknown. Cast someone who can. Yeah, there's too much familiarity. There's too much. It's too safe. It's too simple. It's too easy. I don't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, I think if you. I mean, I guess the added of it being Robert Downey Jr. I mean, that excitement because it's him coming back. It would be more than if you just casted another actor in that part. If you just if you did bring out, I don't know, Mads Mikkelsen, and it's like, oh, he's Doctor Doom. People would still have been hyped because it's Doctor Doom, but I think it wouldn't have been a big of a pop if it wasn't Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean? Because it's like he's coming back. So, yeah.
The fact that all of us are able to name other actors who could have done it tells you something. Like quickly, we can all name other actors who could have done this, and that's the point. That's why I'm a little disappointed in by this announcement. Like the MCU. I'm sorry, that joke in Deadpool and Wolverine is funny. Like you're entering welcome to the MCU, you're entering at a low point, and like
you're entering kind of at a low point.
Now we're here. I'm like, I guess we really are at a low point. And now they're trying to like claw their way back. So yeah, if it does feel a little desperate.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, keep an eye on the situation. But thank you, Chris. One more time, let people know what they can find you got going on, man. Coming up next are your links, socials, all that good stuff, man.
So I do everything first on TikTok, and then from there I post snippets of it on Twitter and Instagram. So follow us, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. TikTok and Twitter is just at the Black Stubs. Instagram is at the Black Stubs. And we're just covering movies and television that we enjoy. Simple as that.
I'll make sure to put your links in the description as always. Thanks for
Mhm.
joining us, man. Thanks for being a part of history. Breaking news here.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was cool. That was fun.
Uh-huh. All right, man. Take care.
All right, I'll send you my Discord stuff. Thanks again. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Of course,
All
always.
right. Bye, Nick.
All right, see you.
All right, we do this quick review for Cobra Kai, and then we head out of here. Yeah,
Yeah.
head out of here. All right, people. All right, so our final review of the day is going to be for Cobra Kai season 6, part 1. Apparently, they split this thing into the 3 parts. I didn't know Cobra Kai was that big for Netflix, but I guess they want to keep people, keeping on there, keeping that Netflix subscription going. Even though,
of course, Cobra Kai is big. They canceled I mean, yeah, of course, Cobra Kai is big for Netflix. They canceled everything else.
Yeah, I mean, what other real big Netflix original shows do they have kind of going for them now? Yeah, but they basically that show with Michelle Yeoh, they canceled Mindhunters, they canceled. Yeah, all the other kind of shows they're just canceled left and right there. But yeah, I mean, they split this into 3 parts. I don't know, they haven't announced when the 3rd part is going to be coming out yet, but the 2nd part is going to be coming out this year in November. It's going to be coming. And I think total it's
Yeah,
going to be
part
15
3 is
episodes.
in early 2025.
Okay.
Yep.
That would make sense then there. So yeah, this is so total will be 15 episodes, which is the most episodes they've had in a Cobra Kai season there. And so what's going on in Cobra Kai season 6? And we're doing a spoiler review for this part 1. So if you haven't seen it, then watch that and then come
Yep.
back because we're gonna be doing some spoiler talk for it. So if you remember what happened in season 5, some other crazy old karate teachers came back from the past and fucked up the lives of these teenagers and also other elderly
Yep.
middle-aged
Yeah, Terry
men
Silver.
there.
Yeah, Terry Silver. Yeah, Terry Silver from Karate Kid 3. He came back and took over Cobra Kai. He, expanded the dojos. He, turned John Kreese into the police and was
Yeah.
basically just on his Joker shit the entire season.
Yeah, where they had to fight him to almost to the death. Chosen and then Johnny had to almost basically go storm into his place and fight him kind of to the death there. So he ended up getting arrested going there. John Kreese escaped prison. He got put in prison and then he escaped. And John Kreese is still one of the main bad guys in this season. He's the Emperor Palpatine of the Karate Kid series. There somehow Kreese has returned. Always, he's always behind some shit there, meddling
He is
there.
that constant of this universe.
Yeah, so you see that when he escaped prison, he went to Korea to visit his old kung fu master there. Somehow he was able to get on a plane and go to a whole other country, even though he escaped from prison with a passport.
You
I
know
guess.
what? You know what? No. Yeah, this show, it is unabashedly goofy, but the show leans so hard into it that you can't help but have fun. It's like, does it make sense that he was able to, get on a plane as a wanted fugitive all the way to Korea? No. Do I give a fuck? Also, no.
Yeah, I guess it's just something you just got to roll with. You just got to go like, sure, whatever. And then he even comes back to America to stalk somebody else, a teenager there to get in her mind, and then goes back. So it's like he even not only did he leave, but he came back also, and then nobody said anything. But okay, sure. So yeah, you see that he's the big kind of goal this season is the Sentai. What's it called? The Sentai Tenkai. What is it called? What's it called again?
Yeah, the Sekai Takai. Yeah, the
The
Sekai
Sentai.
Takai, which is like the international karate tournament.
So that's the big goal. They're leaving the little shitty ass valley and they're going to international. They're going to competing with the best karate people all across the world in Barcelona, Spain. And this season is about the kids competing to see who's gonna go to Spain. There's only 6 people that can go, and then there's captains of each of the squads there. And so that's kind of the main motivation for this season, amongst all the other kind of drama that is kind of tossed in here. Some of the other drama, of course, Danny and Johnny, they're like Deadpool and Wolverine. They're always going to be fighting each other, going at each other. That's still brought here. And this is the final season for Cobra Kai. This is it. They aren't going to do any more seasons. As far as I know, this is it for there. And when they announced, I think when season 5 was coming out, that this would be the last season, I was kind of excited because not because I don't like the show, but just because I feel like that it's ran its course. There's only so much you
Yeah,
can do with this concept, and I feel like they kind of, milked it a lot there. What about you?
yeah, yeah. The show has really kind of run its natural course, especially with the beginning of season 5, Cobra Kai. It's over as a dojo. It was like there's finally like peace in the valley, at least in the first episode. But uh, getting into the Sekai Takai and the training that is gonna overcome it. The show kind of feels like it's spinning its wheels with the dynamic between Johnny and Danny. It's like they're cordial now, but they're still butting heads as far as their teaching styles and the disagreements with that. And this season it introduces a new element with talking about Mr. Miyagi's dark past before he met Daniel. And I feel like that element is kind of shoehorned in. It's not really well set up. We might feel differently once part 2 of the season and part 3 comes out.
Mm, yeah. And I was watching a lot of the breakdown channels for it, and I'll get into that a little bit of because they've basically gone into all the history of the Karate Kid movies except for one, the next Karate Kid, but maybe that's going to play a part here. Maybe we're going to get a surprise appearance from somebody in that one. I'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, you have that kind of going on, like you mentioned, Mr. Miyagi. There's a new reveal of his past, of maybe something that happened. Maybe he wasn't this guardian angel, great guy that Danny, all his life that Danny thinks he was. Also with Johnny, was kind of going on with him. He's got a child, another child on the way there. He married. Oh, he didn't actually marry her. I think they're still just like dating, right? Miguel's
No,
mom and
no,
him.
they're not married. They're just together. They're all living together. Johnny, yeah, Johnny, Miguel,
Uh,
Robbie, and
his
Miguel's family.
umbrella. Yeah, and then the mom and everything like that. So yeah, he's got a kid coming on the way. There's a little bit of financial kind of strap there, having that. They have to move because their place is falling apart. There's that. The stuff with Robbie, as far as he goes, like the motivation for him, because of course, he's gonna go to the Sentai, even though there's only 6 people, because well, he's one of the main characters of the show. Of course, he's gonna fucking go. He's gonna already go.
Yeah,
But one
of course he's going.
of course, he's going, Miguel's going, what's her name? Samantha's going, Tori's gonna
Yeah.
go. So they even make a comment on that show. There's the one character, Lee, who's like, well, of course, they're already locked in. I mean, come on, it's almost like she's saying, like, they're the main characters of the show. I barely get any dialogue. Like, of course they're already gonna be locked in there. So it's really the other people who's gonna fill out the spots there of the people who are gonna go there. But yeah, Robbie, a lot of his motivation is like he's tired of being second place. All these competitions we've seen in the
Mhm.
show, he's always come in second place, either to Miguel or to Hawk. So this really is trying to motivate him to really compete against the competitors against the world to show like he really is great. With Samantha, her kind of motivation, which is Danny's daughter, Danny LaRusso, that's his kid there, his daughter. Her motivation a lot is well, she lost to Tori, but it was a fix by Terry Silver. So would she have won if it
Mhm.
wasn't for the fix that was in? She's trying to prove to herself that she's still a good competitor. With Tori, who Tori goes through a really emotionally tragic thing in this season. Her mother
Oh,
passed away there. You want to get into that a little bit?
yeah, it's like that's an element of the show that I think is really well handled as far as the death of her mother. And I think Peyton List as Tori, she gives her best performance of the season because she was a character who was just scenery chewingly evil in the previous seasons of the show, like bordering on psychopathic. But here, seeing the friendship develop with Samantha, seeing the tragedy that she experiences and this kind of desperation in the fifth episode to just let her fight and let her work it out through in the in on the mat.
Yeah.
And so much of the conflict of the show is just Daniel constantly thinking that he is in the right.
Mm, yeah. And it was a very emotional moment. I think the actress played that Peyton List, I think is her name, who plays Tori. Yes, she plays Tori, and I think
Uh-huh.
she played it really well. I think she played it very well there. And that kind of emotion and what she was kind of going through, amongst all this, losing her because that's her only parent that she has in her life is her mom.
Mhm.
And I thought that was really well done how they kind of showed that. And there's that scene where because they have to compete for spots as captain. of who's going to be the captain. They're already going to go to Spain, but it's just about who's actually going to be the captain of the team. And she's competing for it against Samantha. And yeah, it's like they stopped the fight. And I thought that was actually really well done. And this is Peyton List right here. And fun fact, they're actually dating, I guess. Fun fact. Her and Hawk are dating real life. Fun fact there. Yeah, so you see that, and also with the character of Miguel, who was the person who he initially got started with. A lot of his motivation, he's trying to go to college. He wants to go to Stanford, but going to an Ivy League school, he needs to have a more on his resume, extracurricular activities that will help really push him above other people. So he's like, well, if I go to a karate tournament in Spain, that's going to put me way above all these other candidates.
International karate tournament.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be very sad when it gets to the final episode and he has his interview at Stanford and it's like, wait, you do karate in 2024? Fuck out my office.
But hey, so I think a good thing, even though the show, we talked about how crazy it can get, how corny it can get, like some things you just got to roll with. People who are in their 80s still being, hugely kung fu masters that can beat up people half their age. It does make you root for people in the show. It always gives you a reason to root for the characters and to hope that they succeed. When they're competing against each other, because at this point, if you've watched all the season Karate Kid, at some point all these kids had beef. Like Miguel and Robbie had beef, and Samantha and Tora had beef, and then you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like all these kids.
There was a point in the show. It's like these weren't dojos; these were gangs. This was gang violence that was terrorizing the valley.
So now that basically they've combined forces, Danny and Johnny, they've combined their dojos. Now Eagle Fang and what's his dojo called? Mr. Miyagi. Miyagi-Do there. They've combined both the dojos there. Now it's like, okay, and most of them have on the same side now, and now it's like they're trying to work out their differences. Like Samantha and Tori, they were enemies. Like, she was like, Samantha refers to her as like her arch nemesis, like she's fucking Batman or something. She's got arch nemesis and shit, So yeah, now they've kind of on better terms now, and they're kind of work through things. So it gives you a reason to really kind of root for everybody and want everybody to kind of get along and kind of go there. And it was one of the reasons I think it's ran its course as a show was because it was just getting kind of repetitive. Like the thing of like, okay, there'd be a character who would learn karate, then he would become a psycho, then he would get beat up and then learn the error of his ways, and then, oh, I'm sorry, and then he'd become good again. He'd become good. Or, somebody would fall out with another person over a misunderstanding, and then they have a big fight in a mall, or they had the big Royal Rumble in the high school where everybody was goddamn Mad Max in the high school there. So there would be tons of that stuff kind of going on. So I think now that they've just repeated that so much, I'm like, okay, I'm glad that this season it's its last season. So it's like, I feel like it's just kind of spinning its wheels with a lot of dynamics in the show. What's kind of your feeling there?
Yeah, I'm kind of that same way too. Even with season 5 of Cobra Kai, I felt like it. Wait, what season are we on? Yeah, we're on season 6. But even with season 5, that dynamic was kind of getting a little bit tired about the constant bickering back and forth between Johnny and Daniel, the constant character dynamics of characters have beef, then they learn karate, then they get their ass whooped, and now they learn the errors of their ways. That was a dynamic that was present in the show, and while it's entertaining, story-wise, it kind of gets exhausting to follow. And yeah, I'm happy that this is going to be the final season of the show, even though Netflix is milking this for all it's worth.
Yeah, they are kind of milking. I guess, like I said, they don't have much other things on this and Stranger Things. I guess the two big things that they have going on. So yeah, I'm glad that they're closing out with this. And some of the other characters that kind of pop up, like Chosen, he's still he's staying at Danny's place even after the whole events of season 5, and I really like him. I really like Chosen. I really like what they do with that character there. What do you think some of the other characters like Chosen who comes in here, or the character from the third Karate Kid? What's his name? What was his name?
Mike Barnes, who's played by
Mike Barnes.
Yeah, Mike Barnes, who's played by Sean Kanan. And I really liked his introduction introduction into Cobra Kai last season, seeing a former rival of Danny's who turned his life around, moved on to bigger and better things, and all that introduction was, I felt, it was very fun to watch, especially the dynamic we get with Chosen and Johnny in this season, and of course the reintroduction of Mike Barnes, who I think is a very fascinating character, especially in this season of the show.
Yeah, and he showed up in the
Because
last season.
yeah, he showed up in the last season. He's like a former rival that they think is working with Terry Silver, but no, he moved on with his life. But then he comes back in the final episode.
Yeah, and then Terry Silver burns down his business. He's like, fuck. He's like, man, he's like, he fucks up his business there. Yeah, I like some of the characters that you kind of bring back from the. I think they do a good job at that at the karate. That bringing like touching on the older kind of Karate Kid characters, and it helps that even though these movies were like we just talked about, the first Karate Kid was 40 years ago. It's the 40th year anniversary of the first one. A lot of them look really good. Chosen looks really good, and Daniel
Mhm.
LaRusso, or Ralph Macchio. Um, a lot of the actors still look in good shape and still look like they can do some of these moves, even though they're in their
Mhm.
60s now. So I think that adds to it a little bit there of it. With some of the attention that kind of gets thrown to some of the newer kids that we got introduced to. We mentioned Lee. Lee is a character that got introduced, I think it's season 4, I think.
Yeah, she was like the one female that is in Eagle Fang Karate,
Yeah,
and
she's
she's
like a.
played by Uno O'Brien, who is
Oh, you gonna say something?
yeah,
Uno.
she's like a female version of Johnny.
She's kinda like a female version of Johnny, also, like, if Johnny was, like, an overachiever, actually, like, more than in one area than karate, because she's
Mhm.
also, like, a debate person, also, you could already tell she gets good grades in school, like, really good grades there. So she's kind of an overachiever and kind of it seems like she's cracking under the pressure of trying to, live up to being really great at this thing and trying to really compete, which kind of lands her there with in kind of some issues, especially like with Kenny who comes along there, where she kind of cheats in order to get a spot going to Spain. Then you also have the character Kenny, who we got introduced to, I think, last season, who was the kid that was getting bullied,
Yeah,
and then
he was in he was introduced in season 4. He was a kid who
oh,
got
okay.
bullied, who learned karate, and became a psychopath in season 5.
Much like what happened with Hawk, as we saw there with that character, yeah, he got bullied, then became a psycho, then he kinda now he's learned his ways, the error of his ways there. Robbie is, trying to mentor him like he did before. And that kid got big. I mean, because he was he was, kind of a little kid in season 4, now he's much older now. He's kinda got big there. What'd you think about the storylines with Lee and Kenny there?
The story with Devin and Kenny, I feel like more time should have been devoted to it. But again, this is only like not even the first half of this newest season, because there is this like dynamic of Kenny. He's like, learning the errors of his ways. He's like joining Miyagi-Do fully, and you have Devin, who is that overachiever who wants the chance to prove herself as far as being one of the best in the world at karate. And she does some very underhanded and very shady things in order to get that spot.
Yeah. She puts laxatives in Kenny's water, so because the last competition they have to do in order to gain a spot is capture the flag. They got to do capture the flag, and it's her and Kenny,
Uh-huh.
and then it's also Hawk and Dimitri to try to gain the final spot there. And there's a big also conflict or rift happening between Hawk and Dimitri, because another thing going on in the show is that we mentioned McGill going to Stanford, is these kids are now 18, even though in real life they're almost 30. But we have to. I mean, they still look high school age.
It's like,
They yeah.
y'all motherfuckers needs to quit fucking around with karate and get a goddamn job.
Yeah, but now it's like they're gonna go off to college, and the rift is between Dimitri and Hawk is that it's like, well, I don't know if I want to go to MIT. Like Dimitri's very dead set on it, bit, and he thinks Hawk is as well. But he's like, I don't know, maybe I want to go somewhere else. Maybe I want to do something else, explore the options. And you also have that kind of so they had come into a big conflict there. And then with like I mentioned, Lee puts laxatives in Kenny's water. I don't know why a kid is just casually carrying around laxatives, and she took that. I was like, "What's wrong with that kid?" I don't know. He's got digestive issues or what, but yeah, You have that kind of, so she cheats her way onto there, and then because of the issue that happened with Tori with her mother passing away, Dimitri and Hawk both get a spot because obviously they're like, well, you can't go because you're obviously mentally fucked right now. Obviously, of course. So that's the squad that's going to go. The squad going to Spain is Miguel, Robbie, Samantha, Hawk, Dimitri, Lee. Is the squad there going? Yeah. So were you kind of with that kind of storyline? Kind of, does the rifts and conflicts in the show, do they feel forced to you at all?
A little bit. There is kind of an issue where characters are like at. It is an interesting one because we are seeing a lot of the characters that we have watched over the course of these 6 seasons grow and change, and now at least Miguel, Hawk, and Dimitri, they're at this point where we're about to go to college and go into the next phase of our life. And I feel like with the Hawk and Dimitri rift, I feel like it should have been like better explored. More time should have been devoted to it.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel
it
like,
feels a little undercooked, right?
yeah. I get that. I mean, that's sometimes there is a conflict that people have. Like if you go to college, maybe if you're in a relationship, you kind of talk about like, okay, your partner and you going to the same college, or your friend going to the same college, because that would help your maybe college experience, and you're going to a strange place. It would help having some familiar faces while you go there. But I just didn't get like you're that emotional over, like maybe I'm just going like, I don't know, maybe I want to pick some other options. I want to explore there. I don't know. I just felt like I don't know there. Um, the stuff between Danny and Johnny, again, you just got to have something where they're always fighting with each other. They're kind of rift. They're one of the part of adding to their rift is that it's like they're a divorced couple trying to get custody of the kids on weekends. Like who's going to get them on this weekend, who's going to get them on that weekend. It's that they're arguing about like, oh, I trained them this day and you get to train them that day. I don't know why that would be such a big deal for you to train them one day and the other train them this day. I don't know why that'd be big of a deal, especially since Danny is helping him out, giving him a job at his dealership. That to me felt the force out of anything. What do you say about that?
Yeah, that's another thing that the show feels like it's spinning its wheels so much with the conflict between Danny and Johnny, which it is at the core of the show, and it's something that I felt was better handled in previous seasons. But with this season, seeing Daniel kind of have this like crisis of faith with the introduction of Miyagi's like darker backstory, I feel like it's an element that's going to play a bigger role going forward, because in part 2, we're at the Sekai Takai. I imagine that's going to be like the big arc in the next 5 episodes.
Yeah. So you think that's going to be they're going to finish that in the 5 episodes, and then the other 5 are going to be like aftermath, like the swan song, basically, like everybody patching up and everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as far as like the structure of this season of the show, because the entire like basis of the first 5 episodes is like preparing for the tournament, seeing who's going to be the captains of the teams.
Yeah. What did you think about John Kreese? So the main villains, of course, because you always have to have villains of any Karate Kid Cobra Kai season there. So the main villains here, that since this is going to be this international tournament, is going to be evil karate people from Korea. So John Kreese's old master here, and it was one of the karate masters that they had in the last season from Cobra Kai. I forgot her name. I forgot what her name was, but
Kim Da-eun, who's played by Alicia Hana Kim.
Yeah. So she's one of the teachers here that are training the people to compete, her students compete in the international tournament. And they're the evil group of people that they're going to face off against, main ones there. What did you think about that? Kind of.
That was an interesting dynamic, seeing John Kreese, seeing Martin Kove play that character just as scenery chewingly evil as possible, seeing the potential internal conflicts, but seeing that him just double down of being this psychopath.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you always have to have the bad guys for them to face off in, that they're setting that up, and then the big at the end when they actually the final episode of this part 1 is where they actually go to the event. They're in Spain, and then they look across and they see John Kreese. Even though I don't know why you just wouldn't go to the U.S. embassy and be like, excuse me, this man is a wanted fugitive. Why is he? What is he doing here? He should be in prison." But I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how they just not bring that up at all, I guess, or maybe bring that. I don't know, because like, why wouldn't you just say that immediately? But Tori joined John Kreese again, and she's part of the group. I forgot what their dojo name was. Do you remember? I forgot what it was.
They're still Cobra Kai.
Okay, still Cobra Kai. Okay.
Because Cobra Kai like earned the spot in the tournament, so they're just like operating under that name.
Okay. So they're still Cobra Kai. Gotcha. So yeah. So that's a bit. So that'll also create some good conflict, some good stuff for them to go out in the next 5 episodes. So yeah, what'd you think about these 5 episodes? Part 1 there. We won't rate it because we'll wait till the season's done.
Yeah, the first 5 episodes, I'm curious to see where they go forward, especially with this being the last season of the show, with the tournament of the Sekai Takai, seeing how that's going to affect the dynamic, because there's an interesting thing about you're the best in the valley, but what's that going to matter on an international stage, and seeing all the different dojos from around the world, seeing how they match up with Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai. That's going to be really interesting going forward in this season.
Yeah, seeing other styles of martial arts will also be interesting there from all across the world, so you can touch on that, and especially since it's in Europe, you get to see all the people. Yeah, Europe, you get to see Asian, you get to see North American there. That'd be interesting to see there at the event. So that'd be pretty good there. It'd be interesting to see how like these kids, who seems like this Cobra Kai group, seems they've been doing it since they were like born, came out the womb, and they're gonna beat like people from here, the North Valley, are gonna beat these people who just started learning karate. Like, okay, well, we'll see that. Yeah, I hope they can make it believable. Yeah, I mean, listen, this show, it is what it is. It knows what it is. All the goofy things that we kind of mentioned in it, and kind of the dynamics and spinning its wheels. The random karate fights that just happen in, college parties, or in the mall, or in school, or whatever, or at batting cages that happen. Um, you still, I think that it has a lot of heart in it, and it does make you kind of root for the people in the show, even that it has that same kind of spirit, even though it is very goofy in that. I just think that, yeah, I mean, this is a good time to end it, wrap it up before you get really sick and tired of it. So yeah, but we'll be back in November with part 2 when that wraps up there. Yeah, so that was Cobra Kai. I'm gonna be heading out, be raiding somebody. This was a
Yeah.
long stream. Hey, much appreciated to Amy for showing up.
Hell
What is
yeah.
what's the best scary movie? You can watch Longlegs. That's out right
Ooh.
now. You can watch that. Shauna X there, yeah, how's it going there?
Hey.
Much appreciated there. Mr. Joe Millis, when he came in when our discussion about the Deadpool and Wolverine reviews, he said, "I don't understand people these days, giving those harsh reviews to Deadpool and Wolverine." And then Mr. Prologue there, hi. Hey, how's it going there? Much appreciated. I'm gonna go ahead raid. I think I already raided Immaturity yesterday. Viper Fox is on. I'll raid Vanity Fair. I'll raid him there. Nick, where can people find you,
Alrighty.
man? What you got going on?
Or you can find me on all social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Letterboxd at Night and Day Nick.
Very good. And you can find us on all the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, all the Afternoon Tune. Just type the name, you'll be able to find us. Send us an email at theafternoontune@gmail.com. We're also wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you see us on any of those platforms, make sure to leave a 5-star review. That helps us with the podcast and does a lot for us there. We're also twitch.tv/afternoon tune, usually streaming every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, sometimes Wednesday there. Hopefully we do a stream if Nick can come on Sunday, do a spoiler review for Deadpool and Wolverine. Also doing a stream Monday and doing a stream Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm doing a retro review of Logan with Mike Hedgewood there. So doing that. Very good stuff there. YouTube.com, Afternoon Tune there. Type that in and you're able to find us. Trying to get to 2K subs by the end of the year. That'd be awesome if we could do that. That'd be super, super awesome here. Vanishir is playing Final Fantasy. Thank you to Chris from Black Stuffs Podcast for stopping by. Much appreciated. Thanks for Nick staying with me this late night.
Hello.
Awesome stuff. Hopefully, I mean, this is probably be the biggest news from San Diego Comic Con to come out. Robert Downey Jr., Doctor Doom. That's probably going to be the biggest thing to come out of here. Yeah. All right, people, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Boom.